CPAC coverage continues day 3 here in Washington, D.C. We're having a wonderful time midday, noon hour here on the East Coast. And it's our pre-show for President Trump taking the stage here at CPAC in about an hour. They're starting to shut down some of the doors and the gateways into that auditorium because it's already a packed house in there.
It's already a packed house. It took a little while to fill in, but now I don't think there's a single seat that is open. So President Trump will be here very soon. In the meantime, we'll continue to re-air a couple of interviews that we have and maybe even take a couple live.
Yes, and we have spoken to numerous patriots today, a lot of conservatives, people here joining the movement, a lot of people. It's their first time here at CPAC, and they're just really enthusiastic about what they see and what to bring home with them, what they've learned here at this convention. And that's what it's all about, to network, to get to know people. And you know, Grace, I remember back a couple of years ago to my very first CPAC, and I walked in and didn't know anyone. I wasn't working with RSBN at the time, and I didn't know anyone. And now, several years later, I see people and it's like family members. We stay in contact all year long, and it's just seeing each other again and just getting to know each other and just friends. And you find that you now have friends from all over the country.
All over the country. I love coming to these events because I always see my friends from people that I've met on the campaign trail, people that I've met at other conferences like Turning Point and stuff like that. But I think the last day or two, I've seen a lot of young conservatives around. It's usually a bit of an older crowd, maybe middle-aged, something like that, but we've had a lot of young conservatives, and we interviewed one just earlier today, Brooke Justine Murray, talking about the growing movement in New York City, swinging towards President Trump.
Yeah, love to hear it. So, yes, the young conservatives are here. I agree with you. Now that you mentioned that, I have seen some young adults and children here with their parents, which is wonderful to see. So the youth is getting involved, and we always support that. We also support you getting involved with your future financially, and the way to do that is the Birch Gold Group. You can text the word Trump to 989898. Get with the Birch Gold Group today. Don't wait any longer. I know a lot of people are struggling financially, trying to save a penny these days. It's hard to do. People are living paycheck to paycheck, but invest your future, your 401k, your IRAs into gold with the Birch Gold Group. Grace, you know all about Birch Gold.
Birch Gold is an awesome company. They really do support your values, and they're committing to, they're continuing to sponsor most of our Trump rally coverage, and they're keeping us going. So support a company that keeps us afloat and keeps us, bringing you the news that you want to see about President Trump and the America First movement and the campaign trail. It's 2024, guys. So I hope that you guys are spreading the word about Birch Gold and texting Trump to 989898.
Absolutely. So give Birch Gold Group a try, and they'll send you a free information kit to get you started on the right path for your future. All right, back to here to CPAC. Again, President Trump expected to take the stage in less than an hour here in Washington, D.C. His first stop of the day. He's also heading to South Carolina tonight for the primary. We'll have team coverage there as well with Brian Glenn on the ground there. We talked to Matt Gaetz yesterday. We'll show you that interview here in just a second. But we spoke to Matt Gaetz yesterday, and Matt was actually on the same flight with Brian this morning on the way to they were on the flight to South Carolina together. And I told Brian when he landed, I said, I'm sure that was a fun conversation. Those two sitting next to each other on the plane had to be very entertaining. Who needs your coffee when you have Brian Glenn and Matt Gaetz together?
Absolutely.
Yes.
What a conversation that they must be having. And Matt Gaetz is such a fighter. He's really, him and I would say Marjorie Taylor Greene are both they are the people to follow who are, getting the policies passed that you want. They're the true freedom fighters in Congress. Not many others like them.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely part of the MAGA movement. And again, he is also in South Carolina getting ready for that watch party tonight. We're on Trump Watch here at CPAC, also South Carolina tonight. So we're going to take a look, let you listen in to Matt Gaetz, who sat with us here at the booth yesterday. Take a listen.
I didn't see who it was, but I saw a media mob going down the hallway, And then lo and behold, as Florida man himself pops out, the great Matt Gaetz.
It's good to see you, my friend. I tell you, this is an exciting conference because it's the real centerpiece of conservative activism and shaping the direction and the energy and the soul of the party. And I think we got a lot of America First patriots here, and we want to animate those values and get away from some of the establishment leanings that I think have put our country in a bad spot for too long.
Yeah, you've always been a firebrand from day one. You've always taken on the establishment. I think the left fears you just as much as the establishment fears you. Actually, establishment must fear you even more. Let's talk about what your speech today. Burning down the house.
I love it. I love this.
When I tell people what you're talking
Yeah.
about, they smile and kind of laugh because that's exactly essentially what you did.
That's what you
Well,
do.
I want ethics reforms, and I'm trying to make the case to our voters that if the Congress is more ethical, then we will have the ability to achieve their objectives. So here are a few ideas. Members of Congress should be banned for life for becoming lobbyists or registered foreign agents. Members of Congress should not take money from lobbyists because all of that money is bribe money. All that money is money to buy a vote. And the final thing that people are really waking up to, for the same reason you don't let the umpire bet on the game, I don't think members of Congress should be trading individual stocks.
Don't you think those are three very sensible, logical?
I agree.
Democrats used to be with us on some of these things, but
Why
they
aren't
have
they now?
changed.
What do you think?
They've become the party of forever wars, high prices, low T, hormone therapy, and it's not really a compelling message to folks who are wondering how they're going to get by each and every day.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So when you were up there burning down the house, how did the audience react? Because you always draw a huge audience, and they love you.
I'm so grateful. I've got a lot of friends here, people I've seen throughout the years, and we're becoming stronger and we're becoming more capable, and I can feel in the audience here that our movement is ascendant. We're on the rise. We're getting somewhere, and I just want to keep the pedal to the metal, because even though the polls have looked really good, we know that there will be some shady conduct from the other side, and we have to identify it on the front end, stop it, and we can never allow polluted ballots to become commingled with legitimately cast ballots, because it's impossible to unwind once it happens.
Let's talk about the polls. You just mentioned the polls. Trump doing really good in South Carolina. Tomorrow is the big day. It's the eve of the South Carolina primary. Why is Nikki Haley still in this race?
I don't know. It seems to be some sort of self-humiliation kink that she's playing out, but I worry about her, I guess.
Yeah.
But her ideas actually need to be defeated in the Republican Party as many times as possible. Like, Nikki Haley has been in favor of 10 of the last 3 wars. Nikki Haley actually thinks big tech needs more protections in the law, that we should feel bad for the big tech entities that try to censor RSBN, that try to censor me, and she's a throwback to kind of country club conservatism, whereas I'm a little bigger fan of the hunting club conservatism.
We're live right now in Rock Hill, South Carolina, waiting for President Trump to take the stage, moments away from that. So those that are watching us in that broadcast, welcome. The fiery Matt Gaetz. Kevin McCarthy, big speaker standoff, obviously. You kind of led the charge for that. What's your assessment on Johnson so far?
Incomplete. I think that Mike Johnson has fewer tools than Kevin McCarthy, because we errantly kicked out George Santos in the absence of any criminal conviction, while like Bob Menendez is dragging his Egyptian, scribed gold bars around the United States Capitol building. And, McCarthy took his marbles and went home after he was removed as speaker. And so that puts Johnson in a different spot. But Brian, we got to fight on this stuff. I mean, you guys spend so much time out with people who attend Trump rallies and come to these America First gatherings. And whether it's the border or the spending or the spying or the weaponized government, people just want to see that we're actually in the battle on their behalf.
I agree.
And when we do that, when we fight, the establishment says, oh, this is chaos.
It's chaos.
Chaos. But the chaos is what actually is the American people are feeling.
They want points on the board, Matt. I always say they want points on the board, and that's what they got. You obviously voted for Alejandro Mayorkas impeachment, which is great.
Long overdue, by the way.
Long overdue. Where are we at on a Biden impeachment? What would you do if you were in complete control how to push that forward? I say put it to the floor for a vote and make people put their names on it.
It's really remarkable how that shapes behavior.
It does, doesn't it?
Because they call it the whip check. It sounds kind of naughty, but it's where they go and see how people are voting. And so often on the whip check, people will take the weak position. But when you put them on the boards, that's what we say, call the vote, then it's amazing how people get a lot of feedback from your viewers.
10,000 emails, I think Ken Buck got it. So somebody got it.
And so maybe we need to do a little more of that. And maybe we're going to lose a little bit.
I think I know somebody in Congress that would team up with you.
That's
and between
right.
the two of you, I think you could burn down the entire establishment.
Well, and you know what? And we won't win every battle along the way. And I don't want to gaslight viewers into thinking that everything that our America First team does is always successful. You know, we take losses.
That's true.
You know, we tried to force spending cuts to defund the UN, to defund CISA, to get all of the authorizations for Ukraine money out of a lot of these bills. And we had dozens of Republicans who abandoned us and joined with the Democrats. But when we take the public votes, then the people see it, and then they can get better representation.
Absolutely. We need to
right
know how they're voting because a lot of times people just don't know how their representative is voting.
Well, and they don't want to take the votes. So CNN did this big expose where they blame me for all these people retiring. And they said, why are you retiring? Oh, Gates has made this place just hell for us. We have to actually stay up at night and vote on amendments. And, you know, we can't go to the embassy parties and have the lobbyists buy us drinks and tell us how handsome and smart we are. And you know what? Get used to it, because I will change this place. And I will put in the work, and I will get the backup, and I will get the candidates running in these primaries to replace the rhinos and to backfill. If we've got some of these establishment clowns leaving, give me some America First reinforcements right behind
There's
them.
nobody better than Matt Gaetz, in my opinion.
telling you.
All right, so, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to do this because it takes money to keep this campaign going. How can people find out more about what you're doing? Obviously, you have a very successful podcast. How can they watch the podcast? But more importantly, how can they donate?
So Firebrand's our podcast. We would love you to become part of the Firebrand team anywhere you get podcasts. But I solicit donations at mattgaetz.com. I don't take any lobbyist money. I don't take any PAC money. The average donation to my campaign is about $38. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way, because when the American people go and make a small donation to show they're a part of our team, all they want is for us to be at our best so that America can be at her best, so that people can live their best lives.
And as we head into tomorrow and then Super Tuesdays up next, many states voting there, what is your message to the American people? First, do you think Biden's going to be on the ballot?
I really wonder about that.
Yeah.
First of all, Biden is more of a construct than a human at this point. He is the masthead for a really well-developed network of Washington people who've kind of been running this town one way or the other since the 1970s. And Biden allows them to do that. They don't want to give up power. Like, if they removed Biden and put in Harris or Newsom, the crew from Sacramento would be rolling into Washington to run things. And these real kind of deep state Biden people don't want to see that happen. So look, the Democrats will have to sort that out. I don't want to overindulge it. I want to be focused on our message, our team, because when Trump was first elected, let's be honest, the Congress wasn't ready for it. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell were not ready to really animate the Trump agenda effectively, and getting this Congress better prepared for the second term of Trump than we were the first is the mission that I'm working on.
And with that being said, as we head into these like Super Tuesday, what's your message to the voters? A lot of people don't want to early vote. Early voting's underway in these Super Tuesdays.
I love early voting.
Okay.
I love voting early because in Florida, ID check, signature check, short lines, and then you get your ballot in early. And we have to become more resilient. We all know there's cheating out there, but the way we become resilient is getting that vote counted and banked. Kari Lake should be the governor of Arizona right now. Okay, the reason
100%.
Kari Lake is not the governor of Arizona is because we made ourselves vulnerable by pushing all of our voters to election day only, and then they were able to shut down some machines, play some games. All of a sudden, maybe that 40-minute wait turns into a 6-hour wait, and we bled votes as a consequence. So get the vote banked, and then work on getting your friends and neighbors out there really building those habits.
And before I let you go, people don't know that whoever's in charge of Congress January of 2025 writes the next tax codes.
Yep.
The Trump tax codes expire January 2025. That's why it's so important to keep the House. What's your thoughts on that? For people who might have been agnostic to politics, there's nothing, they all have an opinion. They want to keep their money at the end of the day.
What you've just mentioned is actually what President Trump is obsessing about. More than the delegate count and Super Tuesday, what he thinks about is what's going to happen to an average American family when those Trump tax cuts expire. And he's like, Matt, I'm going to take office, and right away, the number one thing I did to get this economy rolling is going to be headed for a cliff. So that's why we need Republican majorities in the Senate and in the House to reauthorize the Trump tax cuts and make sure they're really effective.
The great Matt Gaetz joining us here on our pre-show for President Trump. Thank you so much for stopping by. Quite
Awesome.
the media following that you have here.
This
is just a typical day for you in Washington, D.C.
We're 10 miles away from the Capitol. You spend a lot of time there reporting on what's going on. I get a very different reception here than I do 10 miles away.
Yeah, that is true. 10 miles, 10,000 miles.
That's
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thanks, guys.
You're taking a live look.
And welcome back to Day 3 of CPAC 2024. My name is Grace Saldana, and I'm joined by Paul Ingracia, who is arguably President Trump's favorite Substack writer right now. Paul, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on. One of my favorite networks, RSBN, and it's been a great CPAC so far. And the crowd is beginning to really file in to see our 47th president of the United States. It's also obviously the South Carolina primary today. So hopefully, it's going to be a double victory for President Trump. I expect to see an amazing speech today and also a victory in South Carolina.
Absolutely. He's, crushing Nikki Haley in the polls.
Yes.
There's no possible way that she comes out anywhere even close to him tonight.
Not at all. I mean, listen, she's relying completely on Democratic voters, on independents who lean left, and there aren't too many of those types in South Carolina, which is a deep red state. So, she doesn't have a real voter base, as we all know. She's being funded by Reid Hoffman and all these liberal, far-left, woke billionaires who are also financing the witch hunt, the political weaponization against him, as we see in like the E. Jean Carroll case in New York State, where I'm from, and so many of these other cases. So she is the very definition of sort of paid opposition, and hopefully she'll go down in flames. Bird Brain hopefully will be butchered today, and hopefully we'll knock her out of the race. That's what we expect, but at the bare minimum, President Trump will have a resounding victory today in South Carolina, and that's what everyone here seems to believe.
Right, and it's insane how the Democrats and the Biden DOJ are weaponizing our systems against President Trump. You're an attorney in New York. You're familiar with all these cases, I'm sure. So what do you think the future is of these cases? Do you think that, just tell us your thoughts.
I mean, it's very sad. It's a sad reflection on our justice system, the state of affairs in our country at large. I mean, you're having basically one half of the country, or the ruling class, the current regime, the Biden regime, literally persecuting a political opponent. Now, these are the people who claim to be the biggest supporters of our democracy and the biggest defenders of our democracy, using anti-democratic means, namely the justice system, to silence President Trump, to persecute him. They hope to bring him in jail, put him in jail, and take him out of the presidential race. Of course, that won't happen. I see these cases ultimately imploding. Obviously, the disaster that was Fani Willis in Georgia, that whole thing basically fell apart, given all the corruption and all the scandals that came to light over the past couple of weeks. The same thing hopefully will happen with this D.C. case involving Jack Smith, and New York State is one of the worst, one of the most corrupt justice systems in the country. So the only way this will go through is if, great American patriots, and there are, the silent majority, they're no longer the silent majority, if they continue to fight, they continue to push back against this, the regular people, the narrative will collapse. But we have to keep the pressure on the people who are behind this witch hunt and the weaponization of our justice system.
I'm glad to hear you say that, and I want to go a little bit deeper into that. This is clearly election interference.
Yep.
All these hearings are, they're timed right around, Super Tuesdays coming up. President Trump's going to be distracted and having to go to New York and go to Georgia and this place and that place. But that's not going to stop the American people from supporting him or voting for him.
It won't. It won't support them. And I think the base, if you go by 2020, which of course was rigged, and there are a lot of fraud and there's a lot of irregularities, of course, in that race. But, assuming the $75 million that he had back then, plus, I think that he adds to that already. I think his base of supporters has grown, upwards of 100 million. And you're seeing this based on how well he's doing in all these primaries, so far. And so the momentum has to continue on that front. But I think, as you said, the process is the crime. The process is the obstruction, the election interference. The fact that he has to appear in court rather than being on the campaign trail, rather than preparing to make speeches, rather than planning his next administration, that itself is obstruction, that itself is election interference. So even if he gets off the hook ultimately, even when he does, not if, when, because he's going to prevail, they're still impeding, his ability to, obviously put the strongest foot forward, so to speak,
right.
in terms of, planning for the next administration, which is we need our Republicans in Congress to really step up and denounce this. This is on them. This has to be a group effort. It can't be totally on Donald Trump's back. All of us have a part to play, and especially our elected officials.
Absolutely, and I think that Congress is trending that way for sure.
Yep.
People like Congressman Matt Gaetz, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene have really led the way on that, and I think we saw that even with the recent speaker election.
Exactly, and we're talking about this. Obviously, you had Congressman Gaetz here on this network doing a great interview. But we're talking about you can't become complacent. It's easy for D.C., a city like Washington, D.C., and this is what they want to do, revert back to the status quo prior to Donald Trump, revert back to the same policies that have led to the destruction of our southern border, that have led to the deindustrialization of our economy, that have led to the offshoring of jobs, that have empowered countries like the CCP and other countries that are, obviously now seeing us represented on the world stage with a senile, crippled old man and Joe Biden, and basically laughing at us, Iran and all these other countries, North Korea being one of them. So, there's a lot of work to be done. And that's the reason why people like Matt Gaetz, who have stepped up, who have exercised the motion to vacate, who have continued to throw sort of wrenches into the system, that's a good thing, because it keeps, it prevents the system from reverting back to its former complacent, ways that have destroyed our country, basically.
Right. Got a tough question for you. So,
that's why I'm here.
Semi-tough. How do we win? President Trump keeps saying, we have to overwhelm the polls. A lot of people are very concerned about election integrity after 2020 and what we saw. And they're saying, well, the rules haven't changed since then. So why should we think we have a chance? What do you think?
Well, listen, there's a legitimate concern. I think the momentum is on his side. I think, assuming even a somewhat, and I don't want to take anything for granted, but even factoring some degree of fraud, I think he still will do well. Obviously, the election, however, comes down to 3 or 4 states in 2020 decided by 40 or 50,000 voters between 3 or 4 states, and we know those states: Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, the key swing states. Obviously, he's polling better than he's ever polled in his entire political career, 2016 and 2020 included, in all of these states, and he's added to that with states like Nevada, where he has 10-point margins by some polls. So the political ground game is really good. It looks really good for him. We just have to, obviously, again, hold our elected officials accountable. I'm from New York State. The Republican Party in New York State is still anti-Trump. They're full of rhinos. And, we're leading grassroots efforts in states like New York and New Jersey to put the pressure on these people. They have to endorse Donald Trump. If your congressman is a Republican and still hasn't endorsed Donald Trump, call them up, as a regular voter, call them up as a constituent. You have a duty to do so. They have a duty to rally behind him at the bare minimum. I think what's also promising is this recent news that the RNC, and hopefully this will happen over the next week or so, is being overhauled. Hopefully Ronna McDaniel steps down and it's replaced by President Trump's recommendations.
That would be a huge move.
Lara Trump, Chris LaSavita, and so on and so forth. That would be a huge, huge move for the Republican Party at large.
Absolutely. That just kind of adds to the point we were talking about earlier.
Right.
It's just this shaping up to be more and more America first every day.
It is. It's the party of Trump. And the reason is not just because, it's not a cult. It's not like loyalty to one man. It's because he's the thing in the way. He always says that he is the one obstacle in the way between the ruling class in this country going after you and me, the regular American
They're not after
people.
me, they're after you.
Exactly,
I'm just
that's
standing in
it.
the way.
Exactly it. That's exactly right. And that's why we need leadership to reflect that reality on the ground.
Love that. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about,
Sure.
I'm sure maybe you're privy to some of this. President Trump has been teasing some rallies in New York, in the Bronx, in Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
He said a couple other places they're considering. Do you have any insight on that?
Well, a recent poll had him, this was in October, and I'm sure it's narrowed since then, like within 9 points of Joe Biden in a state like New York. And I think it's even closer in a state like New Jersey, which should be very competitive. Back in 2022, Lee Zeldin, who ran for governor, only lost by 6 points in New York State to Kathy Hochul. In 2021, Jack Ciattarelli, the Republican, lost by 3 points to the Democrat, Phil Murphy. So these states
Came
can
close.
be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It came very, very close. Donald Trump, obviously New York is his home. This is where he built his businesses. A lot of negative news coming out of New York over the past several years because of these political witch hunts. But I think a rally would be really, really good. It would be a really welcome homecoming because the Republican voters, even not just Republicans in New York State, independents and many Democrats as well, given the fact that there are many Trump supporters in the Bronx, and that's not traditional Republican country by any means, they all love Donald Trump. No one in New York, if you ask the average man on the street, is a Biden supporter. So I think it's an excellent idea, and I think it's something that, as Trump would say, he's looking at very strongly.
Absolutely. Do you think New York will ever become a red state?
I think it can, and there's a lot of work to be done. And the main obstacle, again, is the Republican establishment, this trenchant Republican establishment, and the people in charge, Ed Cox, I'll name them, Joe Cairo, the people in charge of the state who have held out, and they put in candidates. We saw in the New York 3rd Congressional District race, the recent race, which was a major debacle for George Santos's former district. They put in a candidate there who was anti-Trump, who's still a registered Democrat. So you have to put in America First Republican nationalists who support Donald Trump into the races. It's a very simple formula, but these people apparently have not learned the lesson over the past 8 or 9 years. If they had learned that lesson, and the Republican establishment in New York and in New Jersey got a little bit more on board, they're a little bit better in New Jersey. I think these states could be very competitive, and competitive as soon as this November.
Right, and I think that a couple of leaders doing an excellent job in New York are people like Congresswoman Elise Stefanik
Yep.
and Lee Zeldin.
Yep.
Who are some other people that are on our side?
In New York,
Yeah, New York, New
myself,
Jersey.
the New York Young Republican Club, Gavin Wax, give him a shout out, Andrew Giuliani, those types, Vish Burrow, who is here, I see him all over the place. In New Jersey, the America First Republicans of New Jersey, a great organization. You have Jeff Van Drew, who is President Trump's campaign state director for the state of New Jersey. He's doing excellent work there as well. So those types of groups, Mike Crispy, who leads that America First Republican group, they're actually doing real great headway. They're registering voters. They're getting signatures to get Trump on the ballot. Those types of efforts go a long, long way. Really putting yourself out there in the field, talking to regular people, really goes a long way. And you're seeing efforts like that in both states, especially New Jersey.
Incredible. Incredible. What is your final message to our viewers?
Well, the viewers have to be optimistic. There's obviously these next 9 or 10 months between now and Election Day are extremely pivotal for this country. This is a make or break election for the United States of America, and that's no exaggeration. This is the most important election in our lifetime. It's a generational movement for our country. And listen, all the momentum is on President Trump's side. Just keep the hope, get involved. Stay on the grassroots, register voters. We need to register voters in any state. It doesn't matter if you're a deep red state, a purple state, or even a deep blue state. There are many unregistered Republican would-be Trump voters who need to get on the ballot, or who need to be registered, and that will help go a long way because, again, the election will be determined potentially. I think it'll be more than just 40 or 50,000 votes. I think President Trump, if all goes fairly well, will win with a considerable margin in 2024, more so than 2016 even. So, I think it's good. We just got to keep the momentum going and the positive energy going.
And lastly, before we go, how can people keep up with you on social media?
So I'm all over the place. I'm on X. My handle is just Paul Ingrassia. Also my Substack, which is regularly retruths. I write articles
all the time
covering the campaign by President Trump himself. That's paulingrassia.substack.com, paulingrassia.substack.com.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on, Paul.
Thank you so much, Grace. It's a pleasure.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.
All right, getting closer to President Trump taking the stage here at CPAC in Washington, D.C. We're right in front of the doors where people go into this auditorium, and right now there's a crowd standing outside, and people have been coming in and out. The seats look packed in there, and it looks like it could be standing room only.
Yes, it certainly does. It is packed wall to wall in there. CPAC always gets packed for President Trump, so this will be an excellent speech that you will not want to miss. I'm sure he'll have some special announcements, and tune in.
Yeah. Mike Lindell just walked by, CEO of My Pillow, always drawing a crowd where he goes as well. When he's walking around, he's always walking fast-paced, and the crowd's right behind him. Hey, also down on Media Row, we have some of our sponsors are here. So we want to talk about one of the sponsors that is really great to us. It's really great to its customers, and we know they'll be really great to you as well. That's Tax Network USA.
Tax Network USA is an excellent company. They've been with us for a long time. So support companies that support us. It's very important that we are able to continue to go to events like CPAC, events like, Trump rallies, and we have wall-to-wall coverage all day long today. So it's only possible because of sponsors like Tax Network USA.
Yeah, don't let the IRS take advantage of you. You get in front of the game, get ahead of the game. With over 14 years of experience, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in back taxes. That's billion, $1 billion in back taxes. So no matter the size of your tax issue, they specialize in negotiating with the IRS, aiming to significantly reduce your debt. So whatever you do, let the experts do the work for you. Don't worry about it. Hand it over to them. They'll take care of it. So go to Tax Network USA. That information is on your screen, tnusa.com, tnusa.com/RSBN. Make sure you get the RSBN in there. That 1-800 number also on your screen, 1-800-357-1415. That's 1-800-357-1415. Again, don't let any tax issue overpower you. Turn to Tax Network USA. While you were doing that last interview, Grace, President Trump was actually posting on Truth Social some new poll numbers out, looking like nationally he's now with a 70 point lead over Nikki Haley. So his numbers continue to grow,
of course,
nationally over Nikki Haley on the day of the South Carolina primary.
Nikki Haley is not making any friends with voters. They will, the MAGA movement is not going to forgive her for this. I honestly don't understand any good reason for her to continue to stay in the race at this point. It just seems very, vengeful against President Trump.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I don't know what it's out of or why she's doing it, but nevertheless, here she is, and President Trump is he's gonna sweep it tonight.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. We're expecting that. He has about a 30-point lead in the polls in South Carolina alone. While she was talking about why is Nikki Haley even in the race? We don't know. Only Nikki Haley can answer that. We've asked the political analysts. I mean, there's anybody you can imagine is here but Nikki Haley. Anybody you ask, they just don't have an answer. Only Nikki Haley can answer that.
The only answer that I've heard that sounds plausible is just the donors, the left-wing donors that continue to, give money to her campaign. But I don't even see that. That's not even a legitimate reason because, I mean, she's not doing anything positive for the movement. She's really only dividing people further and just trying to detract from a good thing we have going on with the America First movement.
Basically political suicide for Nikki Haley. Her future is done. People are mad at her. People are upset with her. They don't want to see any more of her. So whoever's consulting her is doing a terrible job. But hey, whatever her reason is, we don't understand it, but okay. Looking at his numbers that he just posted, he's dominating her again by a 60-point lead. Those numbers in the polls show 79% for Donald Trump, 19% for Nikki Haley. Now, we are South Carolina. That's our focus today is South Carolina. But don't forget, if you are in the March 5th primaries, Super Tuesday states, your early voting is going on as well. Talking to some people at home this morning in Texas, early voting is underway there. They were heading to the polls. Good to hear. Don't forget, early voting is underway in those states as well. That is states like North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Texas, Florida. They all
so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. Mm-hmm.
Those fall into the Super Tuesday. Going over those states again. We have California, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, and Virginia. I think I named those wrong.
Good job, Vanessa.
So again, there's a lot going on.
A lot
California,
of names.
Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, and Virginia. Those are the correct states. Those go on right now for early voting for Super Tuesday. When Super Tuesday comes around, will be everywhere as well. Also with the Trump team, wherever that watch party is taking place. We're your campaign headquarters. We're going to be there. So, we'll get through South Carolina, see where President Trump announces where he's going next. You can bet that RSBN will be there, showing you the crowds, showing you the people that show up to these events. And Grace, I have to tell you, just looking around, it just gets more full and full. You can hear the crowd cheering inside. They're very energetic today.
They are very energetic today. And speaking of energy, I've seen a lot of energy in the other polls, the non-primary polls, the general. A few have come out recently. There was kind of a stretch where there weren't very many, but President Trump is sweeping Joe Biden in those too. I'm seeing a lot where he's up by 4, maybe up by 5 or 6. So President Trump is shaping up very well in that, and I think he's also doing well in the swing states, which are very important. Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, those types of places. So it's going to be a very interesting election to watch. I think, it could be a little close at times, but I think he'll push through.
Absolutely he will. The silent majority no longer silent, making noise all across the country as President Trump makes his way to these different states. Just in the last couple of days, he was in Tennessee and Nashville, and then he made his way to South Carolina. He'll be here in Washington, D.C., and then back to South Carolina. So we're doing
and then to Michigan.
Around. Yes, and then to Michigan.
On to Michigan.
Absolutely. So we will be following and tracking Trump on the route as
and you can follow President Trump and with RSBN, like Vanessa's been saying, we're going to be following him everywhere. But make sure that you're tuned into our website, rsbnetwork.com. We post all kinds of news, anything that happens with President Trump, we have news on it. If he's going to this state for this reason, if he's talking to the Teamsters tomorrow, if he's going to court the next day, we're going to cover all of that for you. So make sure that you are tuned into us, because I'll tell you what, a lot of networks cover President Trump, but they don't do it like we do. We are able to commit the vast majority of our resources to just covering him. So you'll find all of that news on rsbnetwork.com. You can also subscribe to our newsletter, which I put together every week, of the top articles of the week. I don't do daily. I don't want to spam your inboxes, and we never sell your information. It's always free. Sign up for that at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter.
Yes, definitely always love getting those alerts to my phone when RSBN posts something out there. So make sure that you're signed up for all of the notifications as well. It's going to be a busy year. I mean, already it's February, and sometimes I'm thinking, okay, where's my mind? Think straight, Vanessa, because
It's only February.
there's so much going on, and it's just going to speed up and pick up as the year goes on. So tracking Trump is no easy task.
It really isn't, but we make it work.
To make it easier, make sure you're following RSBN, and make sure you get one of these. One of my favorites. I have all of my Trump memorabilia and everything all over my house, not only for myself, but for my child as well. Free Trump book, get that. Lots of great information there on the successes of President Trump in the White House when he was president and when he was 45. So make sure you start teaching your kids about President Trump at an early age, and you can do that with Free Trump book.
Free Trump book, and it looks beautiful. I was talking about this earlier, but I just think that their graphic designers are so good at what they do. It's a beautiful book. Your kids will love it. So get Free Trump book.
freetrumpbook.com. All you have to do is pay a small shipping and handling fee, and that's it. It'll come straight to your door. freetrumpbook.com. Okay, this is something that made my mouth drop yesterday. Couldn't believe it. Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
Are you sure?
I'm like, what's this news?
Okay. I was talking to Brian. We didn't get around to talking about this yesterday. Don Jr. actually posted about it today, actually late last night. This is a report from the Daily Mail. Joe Biden is 81 years old. 81 years old. He was asked, what's the key to a great marriage?
Interesting question.
What do you think he answered?
I don't know if he has a key. What was it?
Are you ready at home? I almost hate saying it. I'm sorry you're eating. It's going to be very disgusting. You already heard it. She knows.
I haven't seen this yet.
Good sex. Okay. I'm sorry if you're eating at home. I know it's lunchtime. There are things that I could go through life without knowing, and that is what happens behind closed doors with Jill and Joe. Okay? He could have said, just being in love. That's the key to a great marriage, because that's
so likable.
Joe, we don't care. We didn't need to know that. That's disgusting.
I think he has bad advisors.
He has to.
I think he has terrible advisors that try to make him seem relatable and edgy, and about how the liberal, they try to promote very free and open relationships and all this type of stuff. So I think they're trying to make him seem better than he is, and I don't think that's possible.
No, that's the most disgusting thing I've thought about all weekend. So sorry I had to tell you about it, but I just wanted to let you know. So we're talking about Don Jr. So Don Jr. had a very great reply. I can't repeat it on air, so you go read for it yourself on social media. His reply to the U.S. Daily Mail's article on Joe Biden's answer to his key to a very good marriage.
Yes.
And so yeah.
Anyway, I don't think Joe Biden has a lot of good advice.
No, he doesn't have any good.
He's not a good president, if you even want to call him that. We need President Donald Trump back in the White House, and that's what CPAC is all about today.
Yes.
So,
and Joe Biden, I don't even know how he remembers what goes on in the bedroom, because he can't remember what goes on in our country. He can't remember what goes on with his son. He can't remember anything, as a matter of fact.
Anything.
So he can't even remember how to walk off the stage when he's giving a speech. So, so I don't know where this article, how it happened, how it came about. I could have gone through.
I have a question for you, Vanessa.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you think they're going to continue to run Joe Biden, or do you think they're going to replace him with somebody more sinister?
I'm torn, because here, look, there are so many different people and moving parts and pieces to the puzzle. I just don't know. And so there are people who literally, that is their job, to watch the numbers, watch the polling, watch what happens, and go from there. I don't know. I can't see him. I can't see him winning fairly at all.
No.
In this election. But will they try something else to keep him in? I don't know, because right now he's just a puppet.
Right.
Clearly,
they
he's just
want
a
to
puppet.
keep him that
Somebody
way.
else is behind him as the ventriloquist talking for him. He's just the talking head. Somebody else is running the show, obviously. So do they want to continue doing that, or do they want to bring in someone else? But who else would they bring in? Michelle Obama's name's thrown around. I don't see it. Gavin Newsom is truly who I see if they were to do it. But look, let me warn you about Gavin Newsom. He's very charming, charismatic, attractive. smooth talker. Think of Obama on stage. When Obama went on stage and people just like
Very good.
drooled and like, oh, he's wonderful. I'd love to look at him for 4 years. Well, okay, well, his policies are terrible. He's, killing babies in California and letting illegals come in and live for free, giving them free health care. They can't afford to live in California. Gas prices are through the roof. And so he may be charismatic, but he's terrible as governor. Keep California in California. Don't California our America. So I can see them trying to push someone like Gavin Newsom in. I really don't know, Grace. I don't have an answer.
I think they want to use Joe Biden for as long as they possibly can. He's the perfect puppet for them. He doesn't have an opinion. He just does what he's told. He can't even remember anything. It's definitely elder abuse. I'm not saying it's right at all. I'm just saying that I think that if the Democrats have the option and he is, he can walk enough, I think they will continue to try to run him.
Right.
I really hope we don't see a Michelle. Trump would
see it.
Destroy Michelle Obama.
And could honestly destroy anyone.
Yes, he would destroy
election.
anybody.
Yes, he could.
Yeah.
If the election is fair and run correctly and the votes are counted exactly how they should be, Trump can destroy anyone, put anyone up. Name a person.
Absolutely.
He can win. So that's not that. It's just the cheating and who's behind.
And a quick observation from the ground, they just closed up the
Yes, they
doors
did.
over here. This is part of the entrance into main session. It's looking like President Trump will be taking the stage if he's on time, about 12 minutes, maybe a few minutes after.
Yes, so we are waiting for President Trump. Great observation. They've shut the doors so nobody can come in. People can come out, but if you come out, you're not going back in.
Not going back
Secret
in.
Service has this building on lockdown right now, so if you're not in, you're not getting in. Okay, let's talk about AMAC. You know about AMAC very well. They've built this nation. The people of this great country have built this nation, weathered challenging times, witnessed moments of greatness. Now you're watching it fall apart, as we've been talking about. America deserves better. You deserve better with a company that's conservative, and they love the American values and the American dream, and that's the Association of Mature American Citizens. Mature American Citizens, it's America's leading conservative senior advocacy and benefits organization, 2 million members strong. Make sure you become a member today. You can do that for as low as $12 a month. Not bad at all at amac.us/right.
AMAC is an awesome company. They strongly align with conservative values. If you go on their website, amac.us, they have, it's all red, white, and blue. It's clearly very patriotic, American themed. They talk about faith and freedom and family and the importance of those. And they also give you a ton of discounts. And it's a cheap, it's a low price.
$12 a month. Can't
$12 a month. Can't beat that to get, insurance discounts, travel discounts, entertainment discounts, all kinds of good stuff. And so why go to somewhere like AARP when AMAC exists?
Absolutely. Go to amac.com or amac.us, that is, amac.us/right. While we're talking about how we can better help you, that's what we're here to do, and we want to serve you and let you know about great companies. Don't forget about the Birch Gold Group. Text the word Trump to 989898. Invest in your future. Invest in your funds for your children, your grandchildren. Think ahead. These are challenging times, as we just mentioned. We never know what tomorrow is going to bring. A lot of people can't save anything right now, but you can. You really can. And the Birch Gold Group can help you do that. So text the word Trump to 989898. Plan for your future with the Birch Gold Group. And you know about them well as well.
I do. Birch Gold is an incredible company. Vanessa just mentioned it a little bit, but who knows what's going to happen with the economy. I mean, we hope that President Trump wins, but if he doesn't and Joe Biden is in office again, what's going to happen? How high can inflation go? Where's the ceiling? So, it's better to be safe than sorry and invest in Birch Gold.
Yes, Birch Gold. Text the word Trump to 989898. All right, so 12:51 here on the East Coast as we await President Trump. Vanessa Broussard, Grace Saldana here, kicking off this pre-show as we wait for the president, who will then leave from CPAC in Washington, D.C., and then head to South Carolina for the primary tonight. That's where our Brian Glenn is standing by. I had the chance earlier to speak to someone who I really admire. Her name is Hadass Levy. She is an artist, a musical artist, and she works with Forgiato Blow, Latinos for Trump. These are singers and rappers who have left just their whatever genre. Think of whatever genre you want when it comes to music. They have left that and started a conservative musical genre. And it's taking over. It's taking the world by storm. This is music that you think of a rapper, you think of drugs and women and going out and gold chains and whatever the case may be in their songs. But these rappers sing about God, country, faith, freedom, making America great again. And so that's what I like about them. And Forgiato Blow is doing a wonderful job of bringing in more and more people. Every time I talk to him, he's like, I signed another one. I signed someone else. He keeps signing artists because more and more artists are wanting to come on board. And so I met with Hadass Levy. Let me know in the back if we have her interview ready to go. Hadass sings for CPAC. She has sang at Mar-a-Lago, the national anthem. And she just had a song come out yesterday that I downloaded last night in my hotel room. Beautiful song. I want you to listen to this interview. She'll tell you about the song, her new album, and how you can follow her. Take a listen. So excited today to be joined by Hadass Levy, a musician, a singer, songwriter, new song out. We're going to talk about all of it. Beautiful, sweet, inside and out. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we've been having a great time. So not only is it CPAC, you have new music coming out, so a lot happening this weekend. You have sang the national anthem at CPAC, I think twice so far this year?
My fourth time.
Fourth time this year?
Oh, no, my fourth time at CPAC. Twice,
Okay.
twice now.
Twice now.
Today was my second time
Yes.
this year.
Why? Okay, sorry. That was a practice run.
Okay,
Good thing it was recorded.
just a warm-up.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3.
Looks like you've been sleeping well,
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
and you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
So excited to be joined by Hadass Levy today, a singer, songwriter, musical artist who has new music out. She performs here at CPAC. She's performed at Mar-a-Lago. She is the it movement right now. Hadass, so good to see you.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Beautiful, inside and out. Her music's just as great. Let's talk about your new song that's out, God's Land. I downloaded it last night in the hotel room. Love the song.
Thank you so much. Yeah, God's Land is the first single out on the American Dream album. And the video is great. We have Forgiato Blow, Trump Latinos are featured on it. And the song is really about just keeping God in this country. I know the Democrat Party is trying to take God out, the schools, the culture, and we really want God to stay in this country. And I have 3 kids, and I want to raise them in an amazing country that I grew up in.
Absolutely, I do too.
Yeah.
And my little boy, I think about that all the time. Hadass.
Right.
What kind of country is he going to grow up in? And so it's up to us,
Exactly.
in our perspective ways, to reach out to so many people to make sure we protect this land. With you, it's through music. Let's talk about that. What made you decide to go this route and be part of the conservative movement through your songs?
Well, I was a professional singer when I was younger, and I stopped singing when I got married and became a mom. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and raise my kids. My kids are older now. My youngest is 6. And I was a conservative, and I was a huge Trump supporter, and I moved from Los Angeles to Florida because California just really went down the drain. frankly. And when I moved here, I thought, I really don't want to see Florida. I really don't want to see the same thing happen to Florida as it did to California. So I thought, how can I get involved? Well, I sing and I write music, and I started again, and I've been singing and writing for the past 3 years now, and it's just been my way of giving back and, you know, kind of putting in what I have, what my gifts to the movement and the party. And I really want to see Trump win. I think he is going to win. And hopefully my music can, you know, help influence that a little.
And we want it to influence the entire land. God's Land is out right now. Make sure you go download it. I downloaded mine on Apple last night. You can do yours on iTunes. Let her get up the charts. Yes,
thank
push her
you.
up the charts. And let's talk about your entire album. I know this is the first single out, but let's talk about the album itself.
Yeah, so the album is American Dream. The American Dream is something that I remember as a little girl, you know, moving from Israel. Growing up, my parents are part of the American Dream. They started a company from scratch that became very successful. And, you know, these days now, a lot of people feel like the American Dream is sort of fading away.
Right.
We don't want that to happen. We want the American Dream to be alive and well. It's one of the tracks on the album. There's another song called MAGA Nation, which is super fun with Trump Latinos. I have another song with Mises, Never Enough. It's just kind of an American nostalgic country pop, a few featured artists. Most of the songs are actually everything but the Star Spangled Banner is original. And there's 12 songs on the album. And if you like country pop and God and freedom and Trump, you're going to love the album.
You know what I was telling Trump Latinos and Forgiato Blow yesterday is that I'm from Texas. I live on the coast, and we'll be seeing it soon as the temperatures warm up. I know you see this in Florida, the Trump boat parades. And better music to listen to on those days when there's a Trump boat parade than your music. Play that album and just blare it and just be good patriots, good American loving songs.
Absolutely. And actually next week we're releasing Only One Man, which is about Trump, because he is the only one man that can save this country right now.
I believe so as well. How can people follow you on Instagram?
It's Hadass Levy 777. I'm on Facebook, Hadass Levy. I'm on X, Hadass Levy 777. And they can download my album American Dream, Hadass Levy American Dream, on all music platforms.
Make sure you go download her music. I'm telling you, I downloaded it last night in my hotel room and I loved it. Started off with Forgiato Blow, and then I heard Trump Latinos, and then your beautiful voice, absolutely gorgeous. And then I went to your Instagram, followed you there, saw you sing at Mar-a-Lago the national anthem. It'll blow you away. Make sure you follow her. She's doing great things, and we're appreciative of you and what you're doing in the music industry.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
More CPAC coverage next. All right, we're having fun here at CPAC. You know, we have some mic checks going on and some issues going on, but we figured it out. And Hadass Levy is just, she's beautiful, a beautiful soul, so sweet. Everyone she meets, it's just, it's like, it means the world to her to meet people here who are fans of hers. So download her music, get her up there in the iTunes charts, and yeah, it's that conservative movement that we really need to see on the radio stations and on our phones and on our AirPods or whatever the case may be. Get that conservative music in your household.
Absolutely, and I wanted to talk real quickly about Mike Lindell, so hopefully we can air that segment shortly here. But Mike Lindell spoke here at CPAC. He's a true patriot, and he needs our support more now than ever before. I mean, he's been such a loyal supporter of RSBN. He's been so dedicated to the election integrity cause and saving our country and supporting, you know, superstars like Carrie Lake and all the other conservatives that are partnered with MyPillow. He's really doing incredible work, and I just wanted to encourage everybody here watching right now before President Trump takes the stage to go to mypillow.com and, you know, use our promo code. See if there's any little item that you can purchase to, you know, support Lindell and support our nation and the integrity of really our entire future. You know, we have an important election coming up, and we need fighters. So let's keep him afloat, help keep RSBN afloat, and support all of us on mypillow.com. They have Giza Dream Sheets. They have the MyPillow My Slippers, I think they're called.
Yes.
Lots of other amazing products as well. Dog beds, all kinds of good stuff. So use code RSBN for up to 66% off at checkout. That's the biggest discount. You won't find that anywhere else. There's no credit card deal or bank deal or whatever that you're going to find that replaces that discount. So promo code RSBN at mypillow.com. And if we have that interview ready.
Brian Glenn had a chance to sit down with Mike Lindell here at the RSBN booth. Always a pleasure to talk to Mike. Take a listen.
Okay, we're back out here live at this CPAC booth here, and with the one and only CEO of Mike Pillow and the patriot of the world as far as saving democracy, Mike Lindell.
Thanks,
I just
Brian.
put
Thanks
that title.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. And of course, you always know when Mike Lindell is in the house because the media is like a big mob. They just follow you around.
Oh, they're chasing me around today because of yesterday's news.
Okay, you've got a lot to unpack here in the next couple minutes. We'll talk about securing our elections, which Mike Lindell has made it a priority in his entire life to do. But first, you made news yesterday that the media could not get away from you. Let's talk about that.
Right. Well, a judge, another, I won't even badmouth the judge because I just don't care anymore. A judge ruled in Minnesota. Remember, we had the cyber symposium in the summer of 21. Actually, it was one of the company did. It was Lindell Management LLC. They had this event, and which actually started everything, kind of planted all the seeds.
Sure.
Well, we had this event, and there was a challenge there, and that the data was not, you had to prove it wasn't from the 2020 election. Well, all the cyber guys, even the Facebook fact checkers said, well, yeah, it's from the 2020 election, and it was a great event and everything. Well, this guy named Zeidman they brought in, and to make a long story short, they actually bring him in with his lawyer, and his lawyer actually worked for the company that I have now that had all the data. Okay. So he already knew it was legit. It's really complicated. So anyway, they go to arbitration, or they go to the mediation, they lose, then they go to another mediation, and those three judges said, oh yeah, it's you win your $5 million. So then I take it to court last year. And it goes, so just yesterday a judge ruled, yep, you got to give them $5 million, the company. So it's all over the news. Mike Lindell and us, another $5 million, put it on the $8 billion lawsuits against him, right? And so, of course, they're asking me, well, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? Well, number one, it's not against me personally. And number two, it's a big distraction for what I'm doing right now. That's why they waited till now. I have a plan to secure our elections, and that's why I've been attacked relentlessly since August. My pillow's been under the biggest attack in history right now, not January 21, right now. Why? Because in August, I announced a plan to secure our elections and go to paper ballot, and somebody out there doesn't like that, Brian.
I wonder who it is. Of course, Mike Lindell, from day one, I often tell this story that right after the election, I got a phone call from you that says, Brian, we got to talk. I do not like what I'm hearing. I don't like what I see in terms of what happened in the 2020 election. If there was not a Mike Lindell, I'm not sure we would know of all the discrepancies that happen around this country.
Well, God, here's two dates, Brian. Nobody really gives any meaning to, and they're two of the most important dates ever. That's January 7th and 8th of 2021.
Okay.
And those 2 days, 1.2 million Americans got deplatformed. Vimeo, YouTube, they deplatformed. Churches got, anybody that spoke out about the election or our great real President Donald Trump got deplatformed. That's the day they tried to take away our voice forever. Mm-hmm. They wanted to take away our voice. It got down to like a little tiny dot. Well, on January 9th when I got all my evidence. Now here you're giving this to a guy that God blessed me with a big platform and a loud mouth, right? and that day, I went out and tried to tell the world, but I couldn't get it out there. The media wouldn't put it out there until, if you remember, at the White House, I was trying to get it to our great real president so he could sign off on the government gag order that was on it. Well, I had papers from some lawyers, and they took the famous picture outside the White House, martial law. Mike Lindell, there's the pillow guy outside the White House with martial law paper. Well, then it started, the biggest attacks in history, because they knew now it was too late to close the gate. The word was out, and I had something, and I didn't change, Brian. The country changed. I was the same. I was the media's darling. How many people you hired for my employee-owned company, and all of a sudden the media's hating me.
Public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one of the media, not the people. The media and the box stores, they all went away. Their number one product has been attacked. But during that time, 3 months of attack, and people, I tell the media all the time here, I said, well, Mike's a conspiracy theorist. He wants to overturn the 2020 election. By the spring of 21, Brian, I went on Jimmy Kimmel. That was the first time on Jimmy Kimmel, and he asked me. By then I knew it was all this stuff was done with computers and stuff. Every county had all these people that didn't live there that had voted. And I go, people are good people. They didn't march into Minnesota and say, let's go vote for Biden, I mean, that's not, it was done with computers. So I had all this evidence, and it wasn't about who win or loss. It's about preserving our election. I'm okay who wins as long as they're elected and not selected by the people. That's why you have election. So I get on Jimmy Kimmel. He says, Mike, would you still be sounding the alarm if your friend Donald Trump had been selected, like you say? I said, absolutely I would. Anyone that knows me, I would. Right now, the 2020 is gone back there, and we're talking about 2024. Why are they attacking me more now than they even did back in January of 21? There's more of us and everything now, and there's voices everywhere. Well, the reason is because of the plan I announced in August to get rid of the machines, to go to paper ballots, hand counted. And Brian, it's working. We have over 250 counties now committed to paper ballots, hand counted for the 2020 election. It's beautiful.
And that's great, because when you look at, there's swing states, and then there's counties in those swing states. So when you really narrow it down, there might be a dozen counties in total that could really shift an election.
But here's the problem, everybody. We 3 years ago, this has been going on for 3 years. My teams then, after the summer of 21, we had, right now I have over 300,000 people in all 50 states. When we approach these judges with lawsuits, and we approach counties and states to get rid of the machines. I met with attorney generals, secretary of states. I went around this country for 2 years. My teams did. Guess what the biggest pushback was? The uniparty Republicans. I was crazy. I go into Alabama. I got John Merrill, the secretary of state, in 21. I go, John, look at your voter rolls. You had 4,680 people that voted that are over 110 years old. He goes, Mike, we live pretty good here in Alabama. I go, John, that's not funny. Yeah, or Cleburne County, Arkansas, Brian. We get there, and they go to paper ballots. They voted in paper ballots. Everyone in Arkansas, all the counties were going to go to paper. A guy named Kim Hammers, a Republican, pushes a bill through and says, if you go to paper, we're going to defund you. At the county level. Does that make sense in our own party?
It doesn't.
So now we're going around that, everybody, with the plan, and you can check it out, lindellplan.com. You go there, we're going around them, and we're like in South Dakota today, as we speak, Brian.
Right now
at 11 o'clock Central Time in South Dakota, in Pierce, South Dakota, the capital. I hope the governor's watching there. I hope you go down there and make an appearance. All the counties in South Dakota, they have a law in their book that all they need is 5% of their counties registered voters to get a petition, and then it goes on a ballot to get rid of them within 60 days. We already have 12 counties of the 66. Brian, I believe we're going to get all 66, and South Dakota will be the first complete paper state. Now, here's why it's important. You have this going on in New Hampshire, California, Missouri. Now, why are those important? Because finally we'll have a breakthrough and a proof of concept. Then we can go to Arizona, Michigan, up in Pennsylvania, where they have more votes than voters. You know that, Brian, right?
Right. And
so it's amazing.
They have voting season, not voting election day.
Voting season. So we're very confident. I've never been so confident, everybody. And when you see me getting attacked like yesterday, and my company getting attacked, they want to do that for a distraction. And I'm telling you, I am laser focused. We are going to secure these elections, and we are going to save this country, and that's it.
Mike Lindell joining us outside of CPAC. That is probably the number one question we get is, how do we secure our election? We know we have the votes there.
Right there. LindellPlan.com, everybody. LindellPlan.com. We put it all there. It's laid out. It's laid out beautifully. And remember, the RNC, as much as people can't stand them right now, what they're doing and all this stuff that they got run out.
Yeah, it's changing a little bit.
It's changing. But the RNC, when I ran for RNC chair last year, one of the things that manifested out of that with this was the RNC, they passed a resolution in August and it says 168-0, by the way, 168-0. Paper ballots, hand counted, same day voting, precinct level, and signature required. So they need to follow their own thing. When we go back into these states, there better not be any chairmans or going, hey, we really like our machines. Well, wait a minute, you voted 168-0 to get rid of it.
Right.
And Brian, we have some great offense now because we have examples. Argentina went to paper ballots this fall. One judge ruled it, and they had a free and fair election.
And they had obviously the most popular president they've elected in a long time.
Because he was elected and not selected.
Yeah.
You had Taiwan do a complete election with Save Their Country. You had Ecuador that they just did that change of paper ballots, hand counted, all over the country. And when we go to these clerks now and these election clerks and we come to them, there's no reason they can say no because, it's going to cost more. No, it's less. Yep. And we already have proof of concept. We've used our system in the U.S., in Missouri last spring. Democrats, Republicans counting together, done in the same time as his machines with 100% accuracy.
Okay, we got to wrap it up here. Toss back inside as we're live at CPAC. We'll come back out here because we've got some specials on mypillow.com on the website. So anyway, toss back inside as we're live here at CPAC.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Okay, we're back out here with Mike Lindell. This is part 2 of our conversation. We talked about saving the elections. You've got a plan. But this all started because they attacked MyPillow, a company they used to praise and kind of really admired the way you've built this company out of nothing into something as one of the biggest retailers on television. They've attacked MyPillow in many different ways, financially.
And you know, Brian, it's the American dream on steroids.
Yes,
it really is. This is an employee-owned company. They want that gone too. They want to destroy our country. They want, so many other companies that have been destroyed, small companies, but they don't have a voice. God blessed me with this voice, and to fight back. And how do I fight back? I fight back with specials.
Yeah, you do. And you've done really well fighting back with specials. We got the MyPillow 2.0, which took off. Yeah. But we've got some really, before he came on, I just want to be very transparent. He said, right now I've got some really great deals that's very specific to Right Side. Yep. And he pulled them up on his phone. Let's talk a little bit about that, because if you want to support Mike Lindell and what he's done as far as election integrity and defending our elections and what he's done across the board on everything, if you want to support this network, because in full transparency, we do get a portion of proceeds on these sales. So let's talk about these very special things that you have going on.
This is I'm announcing this right now. This is the first time. This is breaking news with MyPillow. We just got in our our famous percale sheets. They've come in, and we normally the sale price is like $69, $59 for the queen size. We are doing right now, and I don't know how long this lasts, for sure this week with RSBN promo code, the queen size, and all the colors and sizes just came in. You check it out, the best sheets ever. The $34.98 for the queen size, unheard of. Okay, $39.98 for the king size. I mean, Brian, this is we're doing this for a special here for you guys. You guys were there with us from the beginning. Do you know that? Yeah. You supported us when we were other media outlets were attacking, and they wanted to have us on. And so you guys use that promo code RSBN. You get those percale sheets, $34.98 for the queen, $39.98 for the king. All the other specials, the blankets that all came in, all the blankets are on sale too. And they're all on sale. You have and then we added today the Giza Dream pillows, okay, to go with the Giza Dream Sheets. These pillows, the queen size, you ready for this? I think they're $24.98 for the queen or $27.98, and the king is just like $3 or $4 more. Unheard of. These are things that were $79, $89 for RSBN because of your guys' great support.
I love it. And of course, you need to help out patriots like Mike Lindell. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the legal bills that you've paid throughout the years. I mean, it's in tens of, probably upward of $40 million.
$40 million. They asked me the other day, the media, when are you going to give up on this? Do you have any regrets? And I said, they go, you've lost everything. I said, I still have my pickup and truck at my house that I started with, my pickup and my truck at my house. That's it.
Yeah, still have that. All right, so definitely go check it out, mypillow.com.
And I want to say one more thing, Brian. And also, you guys, I've set this up, mystore.com. You can use promo code RSBN. They get a portion of that, too. We set that up for today. Thousands of USA products and entrepreneurs, they need support too.
That's true.
The little guys. It's like a mini Amazon.
That is a mini Amazon. All right, we're going to toss to a quick commercial timeout. Perhaps you might even see a MyPillow commercial toss in there. We'll come back out here live from the booth with some more interviews. We got to change the set here as we're live here at CPAC 2024. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, Mike Lindell, always fighting hard for the American people, fighting hard for election integrity, taking the hits left and right, Liz, as he does in this battle. Him and President Trump both. The more they fight, the more the left comes after them. But they're continuing to go strong. Mike Lindell, support him like he supports us. Go to his website, mypillow.com.
Absolutely. He's like a rock. He's like unwavering on anything. No amount of lawsuits or deplatforming is going to stop him. So make sure you support us and him at mypillow.com/RSBN and use our code RSBN at checkout for up to 66% off your entire purchase.
Yep, so you're saving, you're helping Mike Lindell. It's a win-win for everyone. Sitting out here on Media Row as we await President Trump to speak at CPAC, it is quiet on Media Row right now. You can hear a pin drop. That hasn't happened since Thursday. And the reason is because everyone's inside waiting on President Trump. They have closed these doors, not letting anyone in. If you come out, you're not going back in. Secret Service has it locked down. Volunteers are around making sure people don't get in, because if they do, they're going to get stopped by Secret Service.
Right.
So there's just no way. There's multiple barricades of people you have to pass through if you think you're getting in, and it's just not going to happen. But awaiting President Trump to take the stage here. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. Grace, he's had a busy couple of days. He spoke at a convention in Nashville, Tennessee on Thursday night. He had 2 events yesterday in South Carolina. He has CPAC this afternoon, and then he has his watch party tonight as those results come in.
Right.
I asked Carolyn Levitt, his press secretary for the campaign, just yesterday, how does he do it? Because I want to know, but also the people want to know. That's a question that I get all the time. How does he do it? And I say, I have no idea, because it's wearing me down, and we're just in February, so I don't know. Carolyn says it's the people that keep him going. He knows that the people need him, so he has to do it. He can't give up on the American people, and he loves them so much, and this country so much, that gives him the drive every morning to get up and keep fighting.
He is a true patriot. He doesn't want to let this country go down the tubes, which is what's been happening under the Biden administration. So I think CPAC is usually a really energetic speech, and we will see maybe we'll see some new news come out of this. Oh, let's not forget about the straw poll that we're going to have. Yes. I don't remember if that's going to be before or after President Trump, but I'm sure it's going to be a policy-packed speech laying out his agenda for the future of, the conservative movement, America as a whole, the Republican Party, all of it, because I think it's crystal clear that President Trump is the leader of this entire thing, of the Republican Party, of the movement, and of America.
Yes, absolutely. The movement, the MAGA movement, something we've never seen in our lifetime and probably will never see again. The MAGA movement that President Trump initiated, which he started, will carry on for generations and generations. Think of Michael Jackson. When it comes to dancing.
Right.
Michael Jackson started the moonwalk and all these hip moves that had never been seen before. And you look at hip-hop today, decades later, and dancers are using the same moves from different forms originated from Michael Jackson. Same scenario here. Donald Trump has started this movement, this original dance that conservatives, aka the dancers, are going to use years and years down the line. So he is, you call Michael Jackson the king of pop. Trump is the king of America. Like, he is the movement. He is this new establishment. He started it. People love it. People want it. They can't get enough of it, and they want to continue that for years to come, for generations to come. So, never thought I would compare Michael Jackson and Donald Trump, but I found a way to do it.
Two of the most famous people of all time, arguably.
Yes, that people love. Yep.
Yeah, that people love and adore. And I think that there's so much of that here. President Trump is really so beloved by the people and by young conservatives. We've interviewed at least 2 or 3 today that are about my age, about 27, 28, talking about how, their friends and their families are all coming around to this idea that, President Trump actually wants to save America. It's not all the stuff you hear in the mainstream media. It's, he actually does want to change things, and he's not doing it for himself. He didn't need this.
Let's ask the viewers a question. If you were a billionaire, heck, even a millionaire, multimillionaire, but if you were a billionaire from Manhattan, you built the New York City skyline, you had this beautiful family, kids, grandkids, you could retire. You're at an age where I've worked so hard my entire career, it's time to retire, I've made billions. Would you be doing this? Or would you be on a yacht in Italy somewhere, right, or in the Bahamas, or the, Virgin Islands, I don't know, Hawaii? Would you be doing this? So that, if your answer is heck no, much more respect to President Trump, because he is doing it, and he's doing it every single day, day in and day out.
Day in and day out. And he is, I don't know how many lawsuits there are, but probably around 10. We are covering them all the time. But yeah, having to face all those lawsuits, they mugshotted him. Let's not forget.
And it backfired.
And it backfired.
The left thought, oh, this is going to bring him down. We're going to make him get a mugshot. Ha, ha, ha. We're laughing about it. This is the best day for us that we've seen in years. As soon as that mugshot was released and it was put on photos and put on shirts and printed on hats and put on people's profile pictures on social media, and it just blew up to where, people who have been jailed and feel like they have been jailed improperly or for the wrong reasons said, we can relate to him. We've been there.
Right.
And so it backfired on the left. Another way for them to be like, oh, well, we tried this attempt. That didn't work either. What else are we going to do? So that mugshot was seen around the world, and it actually backfired on the left.
Yes, and every time he gets indicted, his polls just keep going up, and they just keep skyrocketing. He's doing so well in the swing states. We talked about that earlier. He's just doing well all around. And it's just such a shame that they are just pursuing this witch hunt against him and all these lawsuits. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable, and it's shocking to see this in America. And it really shows you that if for no other reason, you should vote for Donald Trump and elect, in my opinion, elect him to be the 47th president. Because what are we going? Do we want our justice system to be like this? We just weaponize it against anybody that the establishment and the deep state doesn't like?
Right. And, before, I always was taught this. I come from a law enforcement family, that you are innocent until proven guilty. But the left these days wants you to be guilty until you're proven innocent if they don't like you. So if they don't like you, you're automatically guilty, and you're going to have to prove that you're innocent. And even though you prove that you're innocent, we're, biased judges, so we're still going to convict you and find you guilty. What? That's not America. This is a banana republic that acts that way. This is not America. This is a communist country. When you start going after your rival in the political world, the top leading candidate on the party that's opposing you, that is not how it works. And that's what they're wanting, and this can't be the norm.
And we just saw it. We see examples of this all the time in other nations, like Russia. I mean, Alexei Navalny just died in a Russian jail because he opposed Putin. We don't want that to be our country. It is actually unbelievable that this is even happening. So that's why so many people here at CPAC are excited to see Donald Trump and hear his policies laid out.
Yes, and they are waiting. They're jamming in there. We hear the music, and we've been actually singing along a little bit to some of the music they're playing in there as they wait President Trump. We're hearing he's a little delayed, he's a little behind, but he's on his way. Don't get discouraged. He'll be here any minute. Let's talk about Hollywood. We have a guest that we interviewed earlier today, if we can get that one prepared. She actually lives, she is she's in the film industry. She's a director, she's a producer, but she doesn't live in Hollywood. She lives on the East Coast, complete opposite side of the country. And she talks about the issues that we see in Hollywood. The fact that there are issues in Hollywood, people are waking up to it, they're seeing it.
There's a big conservative movement in Hollywood as well.
Absolutely, there is. So let's go to that interview. It's very important that I wanted to show you this when she came up to me and approached and said that she is a producer and in this movement. Because, I've seen, Grace, sometimes that more and more actors are moving out of Hollywood. They're taking their families and moving away to other states because they just don't like what's going on, not only in the industry, but also the state under Gavin Newsom.
Right.
So this is Nina May. She is a film producer with Renaissance Women's Productions. Let's listen to her and what she says about the struggles of being in that industry and dealing with Hollywood. I'm back now with Nina May, who is a writer, a producer, a director, work a lot in the film industry. So good to see you today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
When I think of the film industry, I think of Hollywood.
Yeah,
and
we all do.
You're on the opposite coast. You're
Yes,
staying
on the
as
East
far
Coast.
away from Hollywood as you possibly can.
Yeah, not just geographically, but philosophically, because we think what's happened with Hollywood is it's become sort of a bastion of ideas being churned out that solidify the left's position on everything. And of course we know that the stranglehold that the Chinese government has on them, and we've seen it in a lot of the movies, that they've changed the plot, they've changed, for example, Tom Cruise in Top Gun, made him take the Taiwan badge off his sleeve. And what we've seen as independent film producers, especially out on the East Coast, is that Hollywood has been kind of like the man in The Wizard of Oz. Don't look behind that curtain. Don't look behind that curtain. We pulled the curtain back and we go, wait, there's nothing here. There's nothing deep, dark, and mysterious about it. You've been intimidating everyone for years into not producing. First of all, it was you had to belong to SAG. You had to be a member. You couldn't have any, couldn't hire any actors that were SAG on a non-SAG movie, on and on. We said, well, we're Virginia, we're a right-to-work state, so I'll take our chances. So a lot of the actors started saying, it doesn't make any sense to stay with SAG because the only thing that I get, the only benefit I get is to vote for someone to be nominated for an Oscar, Best Picture, Best Actor, and everything like that. They said, and our side never wins anyway, so why should I reduce my chances of being in a movie and making money just for that one silly thing, voting? So they go FICOR, so they can still say they're SAG, so they can still work on a SAG movie, but FICOR means they can work on an independent that's non-SAG. So we're trying to sort of chink away at that wall. But to be honest, we're not having to do much. They're doing it to themselves.
Absolutely, they are.
They really are. And the actors we work with are thankful that we're doing movies. They're thankful that they can work finally because especially conservative actors, they're being ostracized. I mean, they are literally being shut down in Hollywood. And they're good actors, too. So I'm thinking, talk about cutting your nose off to spite your face. I mean, how silly is that? And to be honest, when you're on a set in Hollywood, and I've had a lot of my friends tell me this, they say you feel like you're walking on eggshells, you're behind enemy lines, you have to be so careful about what you do. We're exactly the opposite. We are a safe place to be. There's no issues with people if they want to have a conversation about something. I'm not going to tell you what to say or not what to say. And we bond together as a family. And at the end of a shoot, everybody goes, oh my gosh, tell me the next time y'all are making a movie. It's so much fun being here. In fact, we don't even call it work, we call it playing. And so I'll email someone and say, hey, do y'all want to play with us? We're about ready to make a movie. And the word play is what we use.
I love it. That's great. And it's great to know that there's an alternative out there because we hear so much about Hollywood. And let's talk about real quick, we are on a time limit, but I want to talk about the hidden messages in these films too. And it's targeting children now. So they have these hidden agendas that they're sneaking into the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. The pedophilia is just so obvious. And you can't watch a TV series now without the gratuitous gay scene. I mean, it's just like, seriously? You have to throw that in, right? It's almost like you can do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's the gay kiss right there. And you're thinking, okay, maybe that's your life. It's not mine. It'd be sort of like if I'm not a big horse person, I'm not going to go to any movies that have horses in it if I don't really like horses, or vice versa.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of hidden messages and a lot of propaganda, but people need to be smart enough to see through it. We just want to entertain.
We are waking up. I think America's waking up. They're seeing it. Not fans
and you know
of
how
Hollywood.
they're waking up? They're not going to the theater. They're not going to the movies. They're not
watching the award shows.
No, none of that. None of
have
that.
anything to do with it
That's
anymore.
exactly right. They have so marginalized us that we are the vast majority now, where it used to be we were the minority.
Right.
So it is actually kind of fun.
Yes, so it's good to see that people are taking a stand against Hollywood because it needs to be done, and it needed to be done for a long time.
Absolutely.
So how can people follow you? How can we get a look at some of your work?
Oh, gosh, we've got so many things. We're Renaissance Women Productions. You can go renaissancewomenproductions.com, or the easiest one would be errvideo.com, and that's our the reparations, ERR, Emancipation Revelation. That's the documentary we did on the history of the Civil Rights Movement in America, because we want people, especially blacks, to understand that the Republican Party was founded specifically for their ancestors. So if there's an issue of reparations, you got to tack that bill to the door of the DNC, because they were the ones that separated out of our country. They started their own nation. People don't really understand that. The Confederate nation had their own flag, their own currency, their own president, their own constitution, and it was all based on keeping slavery alive.
Right.
So I say, to any black American, how in the world can you possibly belong to the party of slavery and oppression? Seriously. You need to come back to the party of Lincoln. It was the party of civil rights, equal rights. It's the abolition party. It's the civil rights party, basically.
Right.
So,
yeah. So we'll definitely give you a follow and watch you, and also that movie as well. So Renaissance Women's Productions is the website to go to.
Right.
Nina May, so good to see you. Thanks for everything you do.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good fight. It's the East Coast versus the West Coast when it comes to the movie industry.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me,
Yes.
too. Bless you.
Our coverage continues here on CPAC from Washington, D.C. All right. So, as a mom, Grace, I'm even having to watch the movies, the cartoons, you name it, that my child watches, because I've heard that Hollywood tries to sneak in different messages, signs, into not just the words but graphics,
Right.
and they just sneak stuff in, and so it's just very hard these days to just try to fathom what I like to call is the devil. If you're negatively trying to brainwash people and kids and turn them into a demonic lifestyle, as Hollywood tends to do a lot of times, I mean, it's just evil.
Absolutely, it is evil. Hollywood promotes a lot of stuff. And, I don't even like watching modern TV and films and all of that stuff, because it is all just so stuffed with propaganda. They're always promoting their agenda every chance they get. And I watch old stuff now. I'm just I'm not interested.
I can't tell you the last time I've watched an award show. I can't tell you the last time I've watched late night TV. I don't find it funny anymore. Back in the days of David Letterman, it was funny. It was good to watch. Loved it. Those days are long gone.
Long gone.
You look at, these new ones. Who do we have? We have, who are some of the late night TV?
Jimmy Fallon,
Jimmy
Kimmel,
Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy
Jimmies.
Kimmel, he's come after, he airs a lot of the stuff that Right Side Broadcasting Network airs. So hello, Jimmy Kimmel. And he makes fun of our fans and our viewers, and also he makes fun of Trump supporters, but we pray for him. We say bless his heart in Texas, so bless his heart, and surely his numbers aren't high anymore. Nobody watches him. But that's Hollywood, and that's what they want. They try to poke fun of the conservative movement. They try to poke fun of Christians. They try to put stuff into their movies and their shows and their, you name it. And so I think a lot of people I know have just turned away from Hollywood, and they're just done with it.
Yes, they're done with it, and they should be. I mean, we shouldn't be, supporting things like that. So, but there's a lot of people fighting back, and that's the good news.
Yes, and actually, when we went to Nevada several times for the Nevada caucus, a lot of people from California had come over. A lot of people from California are moving over, they told me, from California because they can't live under the reign of Governor Newsom there. And so they would tell me, there are so many conservatives in California,
There
but
are.
the mainstream media doesn't want you to know about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to want you to know about it. And so
That's actually how I got my start in politics.
Yeah.
Was in California.
yeah,
Yep.
that's where you lived.
Right, I lived there, and I first was involved with Turning Point USA, and we started a club on my college campus at Palomar College in San Marcos, and my primary goal was to recruit enough students to start a club there that we could talk about conservatism and all that kind of thing. And these aren't kids that look like your traditional conservative that you would see at CPAC with a little suit and tie and all that. These are, your California type of conservatives, but the great thing that we all had in common is that we wanted to save our state, because our state is just getting destroyed by Gavin Newsom's policies and leftist policies and stuff like that. But regardless, there's a massive movement going on there, and I think that people just don't know about it. And I think if they did, they would group together and they would go out and vote. And I think we could turn the state red.
Yeah. Also, the same thing going on in New York right now. Look what they just did to President Trump, slapping him with a fine for doing nothing wrong. The banks have said he's done nothing wrong. They have testified he's done everything by the books. He's done everything like he's supposed to do. He's paid all of his loans back, but they still wanted to slap Trump with a fine. And so we see people pushing back against New York. The truckers for Trump are saying, we're not making deliveries to New York. You have celebrities and you have regular citizens who are saying, we're moving away from New York. We're done with New York, because that's what's going on in these states. So we're seeing that Republicans are really standing up, especially when, the left tries to attack. One person who really makes a stand and takes a stand in New York from the 21st District is Elise Stefanik. Wonderful.
Amazing powerhouse.
In Washington, D.C. Yes. We actually talked to her yesterday. Loved getting to meet her. She's doing great things in the swamp here in D.C. Let's take a look at that interview. Here is Elise Stefanik.
You're spending some time with us, Elise Stefanik, a Congresswoman out of the great state of New York. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here. CPAC, there's lots of energy and enthusiasm.
Well, for one thing, I got a comment on your dress. It's beautiful.
It is really pretty.
Thank you. I'm excited for spring.
Yeah,
so,
yes.
brought out the spring colors.
Yes, it'll
in
be
warmer
here before
weather.
you know it.
Yes.
As we wait for President Trump, we've got a live look at South Carolina right now. What is it about his policies right now that is so needed in this day and age of where we're at in this country?
Well, I think voters can compare the weakness and the catastrophes under Joe Biden with the strength and success under President Donald J. Trump. For example, and I talked about this in my speech, we had a booming economy. We had a resurgence in U.S. manufacturing. 15 million Americans lifted out of poverty. This was all under President Trump. Compare that with Joe Biden, the highest rate of inflation in my lifetime. So the economic issues, people are feeling those, and they contrast the failure of Joe Biden with the success of Trump. Another issue that is top of the mind for voters is border and the lack of border security. You have a wide open border under Joe Biden, and people understand that we had the most secure border in our nation's history under President Trump. And it's not just southern border states. I'll tell you, in my district, I have a portion of the northern border between New York and Canada. There's been over a 500% increase in just the past year alone of illegals crossing our northern border. So every district is a border district, every state is a border state, and people get that.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we do hear about the southern border a lot, but we do have the northern border that we can't forget about as well. But when it comes to the southern border, which most people, I guess, I don't want to, debunk what you said about Canada, but the southern border, it used to be the southern states that really said that we are in trouble, but now it's every single state, and you're seeing it there. So you're seeing the southern border problem and the northern border problem in New York.
And this is an American problem.
Yes.
This is a catastrophe no matter what state you're from, but certainly our southern border states are facing an invasion across the southern border. If you just compare the sheer numbers, they are so much greater illegally crossing the southern border, but I always point out the impact on the northern border as well. And it impacts us in different ways. I represent Border Patrol officers who have been transferred over and over again to the southern border because of the invasion we're seeing there. But people understand, for example, as illegals are being transferred to New York City and illegals are overrunning, they're assaulting NYPD officers.
Right.
This is now in our communities, in our states. And that's why you're seeing it's not just Republicans who are voting for President Trump, it's independents and some Democrats as well who know we need his strong leadership.
Elise Stefanik joining us on the pre-show for President Trump, waiting for him to step out in South Carolina. Let's talk about inflation real quickly. Taxes. New York, inflation and taxes really hits the consumer hard in that state, and Joe Biden's economy and Bidenomics is clearly not working.
Bidenomics has failed, and it is a political catastrophe that the White House is trying to convince the American people that Bidenomics is working. It's offensive because as people are seeing their price of groceries go up, they're seeing their car insurance payments go up. Young families can't even afford to buy a house in Joe Biden's economy. And in New York, we get the double whammy of being one of the highest taxed states in the nation with onerous regulations. That's why you're seeing, unfortunately, a mass exodus from New York State. And on top of this, in terms of the anti-business climate, you have prosecutors, radicalized prosecutors, going against businesses. And I've heard from so many business leaders who are leaving New York State as a result of that.
Mine as well.
Yeah.
What is the vibe
After
there?
the verdict and the judgment, you saw people say, hey, I'm not going to invest in New York City. That's clearly not good for people who live in New York. But what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, it's just another chapter in the witch hunt and illegal weaponization of the federal government, of radical prosecutors against Joe Biden's top political opponent. And it's not a coincidence that as Joe Biden is plummeting in the polls, you see more and more of these witch hunt lawsuits, whether it's trying to remove President Trump for the ballot or whether it's this phony prosecution, which there's no victim. All the loans were paid back on time.
And the banks would even do it again.
Yes.
And the reality is the business owners, and they've said this to the media, they're saying it to their representatives, they are fleeing New York State because if it can happen to President Trump, it can happen to anyone.
The thing I love about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say on that topic, the truckers saying that we're not coming into New York, we're not making deliveries there. This is affecting everybody. So now it's trickling down to the residents who are feeling the effect of this bogus decision to just go after a political opponent.
Yes, people are smart. The American people are smart. They see through this. They see through these weaponized and radicalized prosecutors who are literally doing the Democrats' bidding. And in the case of the New York Attorney General, this is someone who ran for office explicitly going against President Donald J. Trump. And that was to garner support from the radical far left. And now we're seeing that it's shredding our Constitution along the way. But you're right. People are stepping up, whether it's the truckers, whether it's hardworking Americans who are saying this is wrong.
It is wrong.
Obviously, you're a big part of the impeachment on Mayorkas, so thank you for doing that. But a lot of people said, well, Mayorkas only got his marching orders from, you name it, Joe Biden. So where are we at on an impeachment on Joe Biden? Congressman Gates was here. I want to do a whip check. I want to put the floor for a vote. I want to people put their names on it because I think we'll see exactly what happened with some of these others that went against impeachment on Mayorkas. But what's your thoughts and possibility of really moving forward with an impeachment on Joe Biden?
I think it's very important that people in the highest office of the land, so the President of the United States, I think it is the most corrupt president we have ever seen and the biggest scandal ever in American politics, and that is the Biden crime family. And were it not for the House Republicans' impeachment inquiry and what we've uncovered, whether it's the hundreds of thousands of dollars that have flowed through Hunter Biden, James Biden, the brothers, illegal deals, that went directly to the coffers of Joe Biden and Jill Biden. So this is real stuff. Bank records don't lie, and we're going to continue making sure that we uncover all of that. Now, bringing votes to the floor, we need to work with every member. We have a very slim majority, but I'm the strongest voice in leadership who has advocated for accountability, and I believe we need to hold Joe Biden accountable, and that is moving forward when he has committed impeachable offenses, which in my opinion he has.
We all love you for that. Just know that. More importantly, we want to keep you in office. So, always say, hey, you've got to donate. You got to, campaign financing and getting your name out there and keeping fighting is a big important thing. How can people donate to your campaign?
Go to EliseForCongress.com and just know that as the House Republican Conference Chair, we're supporting strong conservatives and Republicans across the country who support President Trump and who will hold and grow this House majority so that we can flip the Senate, get President Trump back in the White House, have a Republican House, and deliver good conservative wins.
Amen to that. No, final question. New mom, how's the baby? How's motherhood right now?
Well, he is 2.5. Sam, he is my pride and joy.
That's great.
A toddler. He's very energetic, very smart, and I'm teaching him the Pledge of Allegiance, so he almost has that down. Yes, and I'm so proud, too. He knows the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'm so honored to be a mom. That's the most important title I have in my life.
We got to get him that free TrumpBook.com, that little cart.
As well.
You do?
Yes.
All right.
It's an energetic age.
There you go.
It is an energetic
We're
age.
tossing.
Stefanik, isn't she amazing?
She is amazing.
And she's so sweet.
Yeah, I think a lot of women used to admire people like Nikki Haley, but Elise Stefanik is really leading the charge on that nowadays. I mean, she's really done such great work in Congress, and she's been a very loyal ally of President Trump as well.
She has, yes. So, great to see her here at CPAC, and she's another one. And when she is, wherever she is, there's the crowd. The people love her. All right. we are moments away, just minutes away from President Trump taking the stage. And we want to really hit home on several things. One, our newsletter, also our social media. We're so close on Twitter, right? Twitter?
Yes, Twitter.
To getting 1 million followers. We need you to go follow us right now because that's Grace's goal this year is to get 1 million on Twitter. Well, X now. Look, you're going to have to forgive me.
X, a.k.a. Twitter.
Yes. you know, X.
Right, right. Yeah, so we thank you guys for, joining RSBN for so many years now, and we still continue to provide all of these rallies and speeches, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a big team. Our writing staff has grown. I think we are at 8 or 9 writers right now. We're using a lot of contractors, and they're amazing people. They put the hard work in and day out. They don't take breaks. I have Summerlane right now at home pretty much doing my job for me because I'm here at CPAC. I'm on air with Vanessa, so it's difficult to run this operation day to day. So we appreciate all of your kind support. And on that note, we love all of our partners and everything, but please, if you can spare anything, go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. A few dollars goes a long way with us. It helps us get to point A to point B. We have Brian Glenn in South Carolina tonight. He took an early morning flight, pretty last minute actually. We were like, we got to have Brian in South Carolina. We can't have him here in D.C. Tonight's the primary, so we work on bringing all that coverage to you, wall to wall. We show you the crowds. We bring you the interviews that other people won't do. So we appreciate your support there. rsbnetwork.com/donate. And Vanessa mentioned our social media. We've come a very, very long way with our social media. We have, with such a small team, our corporate team is probably 6 or so people. It's very small, very quaint, but we get the job done and we bring you all the latest. So go and follow us at RSB Network on X, Facebook, Truth Social. We have Getter, we have Gab, we have Telegram, and don't forget the RSBN mobile app. You will never miss a rally or a speech if you are tuned into the RSBN app because we send live push notifications right to your phone. So it's not a text message, it's a notification. So we just let you know, hey, we're live. President Trump is taking the stage right now at CPAC in DC, for example. All that good stuff. We send all of our top articles as well. I've mentioned this a few times today, but I'll talk about it again. Our writing staff works very hard to push out a lot of Trump-focused news. We're telling you about what's going on with all the Trump cases, all these lawsuits that are going on, all these upcoming rallies. Who will his next vice president be? We cover all of that and more at rsbnetwork.com and the newsletter. rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. It's once a week. We send you weekly updates with all the top stories as well as special promos and more. So we won't spam you, we won't sell your information, and it's always completely free. So rsbnetwork.com/newsletter.
All right, and make sure while you're there you donate. Did we hit that?
Donate, rsbnetwork.com/donate. You can also send a check in the mail to our studio in Alabama. It's 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. So, like I said earlier, every penny counts. It gets us to these events, and we're going to need more help than ever in 2024. This is the last stand. President Trump is last stand. He's the only one standing in the way, and we need to continue to support him. And while the other networks are great, besides the mainstream media, we have a lot of friends around here, but I think, we bring you the best coverage by far. We're going to show you the crowds as much as we possibly can, and we're going to interview the crowds as well. We're going to be doing a lot more of that coverage. I know that some people miss that. They miss seeing us interview the crowd and go up the line and say, hey, Trump supporter in Michigan, why do you support the president? What is your favorite policy? What's the most important issues right now? So it's really important that you continue to support RSBN.
Yes, and we're not going anywhere. We will be there when there's rallies.
We will.
Right now, President Trump's had a lot of speeches. He's had, get out the vote events, but actual rallies have been rare lately. But those will pick up. We promise you. Those are coming. They are on the books.
We're warming up.
Yes, this is just a warm up for what's to come. Those rallies where we're out in the crowd for hours talking to all these patriots who are just eager to vote, those are coming. Right now, it's more speeches indoors and
right.
You know.
But we have had a few get out the vote rallies.
Yes.
They're called, which are a little bit smaller, but they're still good.
They're still
size.
rallies.
If
Very good size.
Right. If you follow Team Trump on X, they post all the professional photos of the crowd because, again, the media won't show it besides RSBN, of course. But you won't see this on the mainstream media. So if you go to Team Trump, you can see those massive crowds of people, these massive lines of people that wait for hours and hours. Brian was in Michigan last weekend in the freezing cold. You could hear him talking and his lips were numb. And that just, and they're doing it like it's no thing. It's not a big deal for them to go out and wait for hours in 8 degrees in the middle of winter for President Trump. So the momentum is through the roof at the moment.
Absolutely, and that momentum is just going to get stronger as we head into November. Okay, just a reminder, we are 1:51 p.m. on the East Coast. President Trump was supposed to take the stage at 1, but that's okay. That's what usually happens because by the time he gets to an event and is backstage shaking hands with everybody, he starts running a little bit behind. But if you watch often, and if you've come to an event, you'll notice you can notice that they play music, some Elvis Presley. There's these songs that they played right before he comes out. Those songs are playing right now. We can hear
the rally playlist. You guys know
this
it.
is the rally playlist. And so those songs are playing right now, so we know President Trump is in the building here, and he will be coming out shortly. Now, after his speech here at CPAC, we will wrap up coverage here from our booth and then continue to bring you CPAC coverage. But in the meantime, President Trump will be flying to South Carolina where Brian Glenn is waiting for him, and he'll be on the ground with the president tonight as those polls close within hours. We're almost to the 2 o'clock hour, and so those polls close in just a couple hours in South Carolina. Brian Glenn's going to be waiting on President Trump. They'll be at the watch party together tonight as those results come in, and so we'll have that for you here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. So, full day still ahead.
Full day still ahead, and we always want to thank our partners. And if we could cue up that Birch Gold interview that we did a couple days ago, that would be excellent. As you know, like I said, it's going to just keep getting crazier from here, but crazy in a good way. I think we have a lot of fun. Vanessa, you're on the road a lot. What are you feeling at these rallies you've been to recently?
I feel like people are eager, they're excited, they're hopeful, and they're just ready for change. People are suffering right now. And when I say suffering, they're struggling to stay alive, basically. Groceries are high. They're trying to figure out how to pay for food on the table for their families, how to send their kids to school and extracurricular activities if they need to, working multiple extra jobs. I'll give you an example. I've received a card in the mail last week from a longtime friend, and she has a side job, and I have purchased several things from her side job. Beauty products. And so she sends a card in the mail thanking me for supporting her business because it helps take care of her child's after school activities. So my point is, a full-time job's not taking care of it. She has to work extra jobs to allow her her daughter, that is, maybe go to dance or play basketball or whatever the case may be. So people are having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, just to let their children be able to enjoy being a child. And so the people out there at these rallies, they know that. They're ready for President Trump to come back. They feel, though, they're scared. They're hopeful that President Trump will save this country again and he'll be elected, but they're scared that there's going to be some type of interference before we get to November. So there's hope, there's happiness, there's excitement, but there's this worry in the air of what's the left going to pull before November.
Right. It's really unfortunate, the state of the nation right now. I mean, the mortgage rates are also through the roof, and people, like you said, they can't afford food. They can't afford these extracurriculars for their kids. It's a tough economy, but I think it's a valid concern to, it's a healthy concern, I think. You don't want to just mass believe that President Trump has it in the bag, because then what if voters don't show up?
Right.
So we have to overwhelm the polls.
Yes.
We need Americans to go out and vote, no matter what. No matter if you think you live in a red state. Florida's pretty red right now. I know in the past it's leaned a little bit more blue, especially places like Miami and stuff like that. But don't think that we just have it locked up. Make sure that you are motivated, you go out to the polls, and you do your job as an American citizen.
Yeah, and President Trump will talk about that often. He'll say that even though we're leading in the polls, don't get comfortable and complacent with that. Don't sit at home. We still need you to go out there and vote like we're losing in the polls. So still storm the polls like Grace just mentioned. Looking at the general election, I'm looking at President Trump's Truth Social page right now as we wait for him to take the stage any second now. He is leading in the polls. He posted just an hour ago on his way here. Joe Biden is beating Nikki Haley in key states. But in the general election where there's a head-to-head matchup between Trump and Biden, Trump is crushing Biden in this poll, 47% to 38%. Looking ahead to Super Tuesday, where 6 states will be voting, Trump is crushing Nikki Haley in every Super Tuesday state. That includes California, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, and Virginia. If you're watching from those states, early voting is going on right now. Don't forget to go out and vote. It's very important to vote because, as we've seen in the last couple of primaries and the caucus, is that Democrats are registering as Republicans, and they're doing that so they can vote for Nikki Haley in an effort to keep Donald Trump off the ballot in November. So Democrats are purposely turning to Republican only for the reason to vote for Nikki Haley. So these numbers for Nikki Haley aren't true and accurate. They're really not Nikki Haley fans. Right. They're Republicans who are Democrats who are turning Republican just to vote for Nikki Haley. They have the national anthem playing inside. Let us know if we're going to take that before we go to President Trump, and I'll wrap up outside from here in the booth. But when it comes to, Grace, the national poll from Trump versus Nikki Haley, he has a 60-point lead. 60 points.
That's massive. I would say it's almost unheard of, except he won in...
And to the republic for which it stands. One nation. Under God.
I think it's the Jan 6 national anthem.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I can't hear. I'll
the
let
one that they filmed a while ago. Yeah.
So it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking and trying to listen at the same time. But we know we're getting close to President Trump, and I wanted to play the national anthem if that was playing. But yeah, January 6th, speaking of that, so many people here in support of the J6ers and freeing them, and for the family members. So many family members here who are also victims in this situation.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of them, talked to a lot of them around here. It's so tragic what's going on. So many people, not only just wrongfully imprisoned, but some people sentenced and, unfortunately made the decision to kill themselves because they didn't want to go through that and all that. It's just horrible, the political persecution.
Here we go. President Trump, take it away inside.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
This is a nice crowd. That's a beautiful crowd. Thank you. That's a great honor. They have rooms packed outside of this hall. If anybody would like to give up their space, let other people come in, please let us know. We'll take care of it. It's a tremendous celebration. Thank you very much. And hello to CPAC. We've been coming here a long time, and it's gotten bigger and better and more beautiful. And thank you very much. It's big election going on today. You probably have read a little bit about it. And I'm supposed to be in a slightly different location, not too far away, but nevertheless, it's different. And I said, no, I'm sorry, I have to be at CPAC today. I have to be there. And I want to thank Matt and Mercedes Schlapp, two great people, along with the entire staff. Thank you very much. Mercedes, thanks. Matt. The entire staff of the American Conservative Union, that's what it is. It's a conservative union. It's also a union of common sense. I've been saying it more and more. You know, conservative, it's common sense. And I don't know, maybe we'll have to put that, Matt, on the bottom of that. A group of people with common sense to save our country and make America great again. It's pretty simple, isn't it, huh? We have a tremendous group of dignitaries, leaders, world leaders, and local leaders, but we have from all over the world people with us right now at this moment in the room. And just mention a few. President of Argentina, who's gotten a lot of publicity. He's gotten a lot. He's a great gentleman. You know, he's MAGA. He's MAGA. Make Argentina great again. It's true. No, and he said, I am MAGA. And then I realized he's one of the few who can really do it well. Make Argentina great again. Javier Milei. Thank you very much, Javier. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have him with us. Senator J.D. Vance. He's doing a fantastic job. Thank you, J.D. Congressman Corey Mills. Thank you. A very powerful competitor of mine. He is a quick one. He's a smart one. Vivek. Where's Vivek? Ramaswamy. Thank you. He endorsed me. When he endorsed me, I said, that's a great endorsement. Thank you, Vivek. Former senator and somebody that's been very nice to me over the years. I don't know why, but he has. Rick Santorum. Thank you, Rick. Where is Rick? Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Former acting attorney general, somebody that's been very loyal to the administration and to his country, Matt Whitaker. Thank you. Matt, thank you very much. The former chair of my Council of Economic Advisors, Kevin Hassett, with a nice smile, always has that beautiful smile. somebody that very shortly will be a United States Senator, Carrie Lake. Where is Carrie Lake? Where is Carrie Lake? Wow, that's a pretty good hand you just got, Carrie, I'll tell you. Well, she was very close to being governor, but unfortunately a lot of the voting machines just didn't work. They weren't working that particular day. The lines were miles long. They weren't working too well that day, Carrie, but it's one of those things. And then the judges said, well, not our fault. We better straighten out our elections pretty fast because otherwise we're not going to have a country any longer. That's true. Thank you, Carrie, very much. U.S. Senate candidate from Virginia, Hung Cao. Whoa, he's got support. He's got some support. Wow. Wow. A man who is tough and smart and loves our country. He's the head of America First Legal. He's won a lot of cases, I can tell you, and he's a real guy. He's a real patriot. Stephen Miller, my friend. Stephen Miller. He's around here someplace. There's a lot of people in this room. Thank you, Stephen. President of the Vox Party in Spain, Santiago Abascal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Santiago. Great to meet you. They've made a lot of progress, too. He'll be number 2 and number 1 very shortly, it seems like. That's what I'm reading. Let's see if, a lot of it's fake news, so we can't go by everything. But that's what I'm hearing. Federal deputy from Brazil, Eduardo Bolsonaro. Eduardo, wherever you are. North Carolina GOP chair, and I think he'll be probably going to a national position very shortly, Michael Whatley, fantastic guy. And we all know and love a man who great bravery in the administration, really a brave person. He went through hell and back, and he beat everybody. He just beat them along the way. Rick Grinnell. Thank you, Rick. The president of Moms for America, Kimberly Fletchner. That's a good group. They just gave me their award. Thank you for that wonderful award. How about Moms for America picked Donald Trump as the Man of the Year? Can you believe this? Have I made progress? Ah, boy. And a man, the single greatest advertiser and purchaser of advertising in the history of America, Mike Lindell. The greatest. An incredible lawyer, one of the most respected lawyers in the country, John Cole. John, thank you. Thank you, John. And Stephen Moore, we all know he's got great predictions if Trump wins. If Trump doesn't win, he says it's going to go bad. It's going to go bad fast. Stephen Moore, highly respected economist. Thank you, Stephen. And a man who I've had respect for certainly a long time. I won't tell you how long, too long. But somebody that I've listened to over the years, even when he was on CNN. That's when people used to watch CNN a lot. He always had the #1 show. He's an incredible... They start booing. I agree with you. But he's an incredible guy, an incredible mind that loves our country, and he fights like hell for our country. The great Lou Dobbs. Where's Lou? Thank you, Lou. You look good, Lou. And we have Tom Fitton. We have so many people. Tom Fitton. Where's Tom Fitton? Stand up, Tom Fitton. Stand up, Steve Bannon. Where's Steve Bannon? Where's Steve? Where is Steve? Stand up, Bannon. Where the hell is Bannon? Oh, he still looks good? Tom always looks good. I don't know. I think he does that weightlifting stuff, Tom, right? But Bannon looks good. We love Steve. We love them all. We love them all. We have so many others in the audience, and I want to say hello, but we have to get down to business because I want to win the award as the best, whatever the hell they call it, the best speaker, I think they say. Who made the best speech? And if I keep introducing people, I'm not going to win it this year. I've won it like 9 years in a row, right? I got to get going. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We appreciate it very much. We appreciate it very much. Gorka, did I see the Gorka man? Yes, stand up, Gorka. Quick, get up. How good is he? Sebastian? Seb. They call him Seb. I call him Sebastian. Thank you, Sebastian. I just spotted you. It's lucky you're nice and tall. 4 years ago, I told you that if crooked Joe Biden got to the White House, our borders would be abolished, our middle class would be decimated, and our communities would be plagued by bloodshed, chaos, and violent crime. We were right about everything. So believe me when I offer you another warning, and we've been right about so much, just about everything. If crooked Joe Biden and his thugs win in 2024, the worst is yet to come. Our country will go and sink to levels that were unimaginable. And just think about it. With 4 more years of Biden, the hordes of illegal aliens stampeding across our borders will exceed 40 to 50 million people. Medicare, Social Security, health care, and public education will buckle and collapse. It will collapse as sure as you're sitting or standing there. It will collapse. Our economy will be starved of energy by crooked Joe's vindictive Green New Scam. It's a Green New Scam. It'll be the destruction of our country. It is indeed a scam, and most of them know it. Some of them, the fools, believe it, but most of them know it. Millions of manufacturing jobs will be choked off into extinction, and you'll have constant blockouts and blackouts and rampant inflation. Ruthless gangs will explode even more into the suburbs, and when they talk about suburban women, they're going to love me so much. They're going to say, oh, I wish we had that guy back. The gangs will be invading your territory, I can tell you that. While weaponized law enforcement hunts for conservatives and people of faith, religious, Hamas and Antifa will terrorize our streets while their brutal ideology, and it is brutal indeed, it is brutal and horrible like nobody's ever seen before, takes over our schools. China will dominate us, not just economically, but militarily, and that's what they want, and that's where they're heading, but they weren't heading there with me. I took over $400 billion out of China, and they weren't too happy about it, and then all of a sudden, we had the China virus. Now, I happen to think it was incompetence, but a lot of people disagree with that. And a declining, crooked Joe Biden. He's the crookedest, most incompetent president in the history of our country. Will soon have us losing World War III. We won't even be in World War III. We'll be losing World War III with weapons the likes of which nobody has ever seen before. These are the stakes of this election. Our country is being destroyed, and the only thing standing between you and its obliteration is me. It's true. It's true. Viktor Orban is somebody I respect greatly. A lot of people respect him. Tough guy, smart guy. He made the statement recently. He said, if you bring back Trump, it'll all stop. They all listened to Trump. They respected Trump. He actually said it stronger than he said they were afraid of Trump. I don't want people to be afraid of me. But he said China was afraid, Russia was afraid. They were all afraid of Trump. Bring him back, and it'll all go back. And I will tell you, we had things at a level that nobody's ever seen before. We had no wars. We had defeated ISIS. We got rid of the worst terrorists in the world. You know that. And solely defeated. We took 100% of ISIS gone. And then we had no wars. For 4 years, we had no wars. First time in 72 years that happened. No wars. Hillary Clinton, during one of our debates, if you remember that, she said, look at him, listen to him, he's going to cause wars, we'll be in wars. No. It turned out that I was able to stop wars from happening and brought our troops back home. We got out of these ridiculous, endless wars, killing people on both sides, costing trillions of dollars. Crooked Joe and his henchmen have you trapped, and it's an express train barreling toward servitude and to ruin. It's moving at a speed that Joe doesn't understand, because Joe actually, I don't think he knows what the hell's going on, to be honest with you, but he's surrounded by some very bad fascists. A vote for Trump is your ticket back to freedom. It's your passport out of tyranny, and it's your only escape from Joe Biden and his gang's fast track to hell. And in many ways, we're living in hell right now. Because the fact is, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He really is a threat to democracy. I stand before you today not only as your past and hopefully future president, but as a proud political dissident. I am a dissident. Remember this, I've been indicted more than Alphonse Capone, Mr. President. Do you know who that is? Even the president just said, I do. Scarface, Al Capone. If he had dinner with you and he didn't like the smile in your face, he thought you were mocking him by smiling, you would be dead before you got home and said hello to your wife. And Alphonse Capone, I got indicted 4 times by this gang of thugs for nothing. Or, as I say respectfully to the people from foreign countries, for bullshit. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous what's going on. They've weaponized government. They've weaponized the DOJ, the FBI. We've never had anything like this in this country, and it's a phenomenon that's taken place many times, but in third world countries and in banana republics, not in the United States of America. So it's very dangerous, and they are indeed a threat to democracy. And I'm here to unleash this captive nation from Joe Biden and his gang of very bad people, very sick people, smart people, intelligent people, but they're hell-bent on the destruction of American freedom. It's happening in our country, and it's so obvious. I have people come to see me from other lands where this has gone on, especially in South America, Latin America, and they'll say, the same thing happened to my country 20 years ago. It was the same thing. It's all happening. And if we don't stop it, this is it. 2024. If we don't stop it, this is our last train. If we don't stop it, we're going to have a country. It won't even be a country. You want to know the truth? It won't even be a country. It's breaking up. If we can break out of the Biden nightmare, and it is a nightmare, he's the most incompetent person. Can you imagine this man who can't walk off a stage? He can't find the stairs. Where are they? Where are they, he asks. Where? He makes a 2-minute speech because that's about the only, they couldn't get any more fuel than that. Whatever happened to the cocaine they found in the White House? Where is it? And by the way, I have to say, because I have such respect for this audience and CPAC, I would have never spoken, and I never did, about him because of my respect for the office of the president. I have great respect for that office. But once I got indicted the first time, remember that? I got indicted, and I got impeached twice. We won that, and we'll win all of this stuff. But once I got indicted, I said, well, now the gloves have to come off because they did something. Those, you know, the fake news, before these indictments came, the fake news, almost every one of, well, he'll never be indicted. You don't do that. He was a very popular president. You know, I got more votes than any sitting president in history. Got almost 75 million votes. Substantially more than any other president, sitting president has gotten. And they would say, oh, no, he'll never be indicted. These are people that, some of them truly have Trump derangement syndrome. And they were saying, he'll never be indicted. They won't do that. They'll never. He did it. They did it. They actually, and it was all done by him in order to go after your political opponent so that you can damage him enough that you can maybe win. But it's had the reverse effect because our poll numbers have gone through the roof. Can you believe this? They've gone through the roof. That wasn't supposed to happen, and it's probably never happened before. I've watched over the years as politicians get indicted, and they start by going to a microphone about 2 minutes after it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be resigning from office today, and I will go home with my family and my friends, and I will fight for my name. Well, that's the last you ever hear from that poor guy. And with me, we have a big voice. You can see by this crowd today, look at that, standing room only. They're all over the place. They have 3 rooms like this. And I have a voice that I can explain it all, like the laptop from hell when they impeached me. And it turned out I was right after going through all that. And now they say, you know, we shouldn't have impeached him. He was right because the laptop from hell showed that I was 100% right. All of these things, we were right on all of it. But we're in a very bad path. It's a very, very dangerous path that we are on as a country because the other side, which I find tends to be a much nicer group of people, and maybe foolishly so, but the other side can also get nasty, and at some point they probably will have to do that because we cannot let this weaponization go on against the Republican Party, against religion, against conservatives. We cannot let this continue to happen. So if we can break out of this Biden nightmare, it's a nightmare. Our country is no longer respected. We're laughed at all over the world. We have to break out of the nightmare that we're in. And we have it in the grasp to make America richer and safer and stronger and prouder and more beautiful than ever before. I think we have a final shot at it, but if we don't do well in this next election, or if they cheat enough that they can steal it, which is, I think, the only way they can win. Who the hell can win when you have 16 million people pouring into our country from places unknown? We have countries that nobody ever even heard of from all over the world. Yesterday they had many people caught from prisons in, you remember this, right? Prisons in the Congo. Let me tell you, the only good thing is they make our prisoners and our bad gang members look like very nice people by comparison. That's the one good thing. All of a sudden, we're starting to like our prisoners and our horrible, violent criminals because they're nicer than the people that are flowing in. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the world, coming from Africa. And we're not going to stand for it anymore. As a country, we're not going to stand for it anymore. They're destroying our country. And we built 5, think of it. We had the safest border 3 years ago. We had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a country ever, third world countries, they've never been like this. They would have fought with sticks and stones. They didn't need rifles. We have the best in the world, but we let everyone, because we're fools. Either they want to destroy our country or they're stupid. And I don't think they're stupid because anybody that can cheat on elections like they do is not stupid. That means they want to destroy our country. But who can win an election when you have that? Who can win an election when you have high interest rates, you can't buy a home, where you have bad education, where everything's woke? We did things that nobody can imagine. So many things. 1,000 elements we did. We have a book, the 1,000 things. We did things that nobody could even imagine. And then all of a sudden, something very bad happened. Israel would have never happened. The attack on Israel would have never happened. Remember, Iran was broke. They were broke. Ukraine would have never happened. I talked to Putin a lot. I got along with him well. Although he did announce the other day that he'd much rather see Biden as president. And I agree with him. I agree. Because, you know, I ended Nord Stream, right? I ended Nord Stream. Nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. That's the biggest pipeline in the world. Going into Germany, what's that all about? We defend Germany and Europe, and then they go and pay billions of dollars to the people that we're defending them against. How do you figure that one, right? And I stopped it. It was over. And then Biden comes in, and within 3 days he approves Nord Stream. But he kills Keystone Pipeline, right? He kills Keystone. He approves the Russian pipeline, the biggest in the world, billions and billions of dollars a month come flowing in. But he ends the Keystone XL pipeline. And then they say, Trump is too nice to Russia. I'm nice. I'm the one that gave him the 100 javelins, the thousands of javelins that knocked out the tanks, but they knocked out 100 tanks in the first 2 days with javelins that I gave. Remember, they said Obama gave pillows and Trump gave javelins. And then they say, oh, Trump was so nice to Russia. No. Putin would say, if you're being nice, I hate like hell to think of what you'd be if you were not nice. But we were tough and we were smart and we were right. We were right just on everything. We were right. And what they've done is unthinkable. What they did with the border, allowing these people to flow in, is unbelievable. But to achieve a great future, we first have to throw off the chains of our out-of-control political class, and that begins with telling crooked Joe Biden, you remember The Apprentice? Crooked Joe Biden, you're fired. Get out of here. Get the hell, you're destroying our country. You're fired, Biden. Get the hell out of here. Right? Get the hell out of here, this guy. He goes after his political opponents. Let's go after them. See if you can indict him so that maybe we can win. A little bit of a backlash when the numbers go up. But anybody that does that and all these other things they've done, they're destroying our country. We're not respected anywhere anymore. We're laughed at. We've become a joke as a country. For years, you've watched as the entire Washington cesspool has been feeding on the wealth and hopes and dreams of hardworking Americans, really hardworking Americans. They've feasted on the profits of job-killing trade deals. They've gorged themselves on the spoils of endless wars. And now what they crave, they want it so badly, is permanent political power and dominance for whatever reason. They're sickos, that's why. In 2016, we gave these corrupt insiders their chance to change, and with Biden, they answered with hoaxes and witch hunts, censorship, lockdowns, and with total repression. 8 years later, the swamp has rejected your righteous pleas to reform, and we have to do this, and we're going to reform, and we're going to have freedom again. We're going to have freedom again. We do not have freedom, and we have the most corrupt press anywhere. These people are corrupt. They are corrupt. Not all of them, about 92%. No, you have some wonderful journalists, you really do, but they're just overwhelmed by the people that know they're doing so wrong. I watch ABC, CBS, NBC. I mean, it's so, I don't even talk about CNN because nobody watches them anymore. MSDNC is horrible, horrible. But fortunately, not a lot of people are watching them anymore. They've tuned out. But the press has to straighten itself out. You know, they're all doing badly, and they're doing badly because they're fake news. That was another one we called, right? Fake news. The only problem with that term, it's not strong enough. I wish it was stronger. At the ballot box this November, it's you and the people you have to be, and we'll deliver a reckoning like they haven't even imagined before. We're going to straighten out our country. We're going to bring our country back. For hardworking Americans, November 5th will be our new Liberation Day, but for the liars and cheaters and fraudsters and censors and imposters who have commandeered our government, it will be their Judgment Day. Their Judgment Day. When we win, the curtain closes on their corrupt reign and the sun rises on a bright new future for America. That's what we have to have. I believe it's our last chance. You know, I used to say how important in 2016 that you got to do it. It's the most important election. I meant it, but that was nothing compared to where we are now. We had a big border problem, and I solved it. So much so that in 2020, I couldn't even mention it. I'd say, let's talk about the border. Sir, you've solved that problem. You don't have a border. I don't care. I want to talk about the border. I talk about the border. Everybody would sit there. They wouldn't even say anything because we had no problem. I solved it. But who would have thought that now we have a border problem that's 20 times worse than what we had in 2016? 20 times. And we'll solve that one too. But it's going to have to be very strong action, and it's going to have to happen fast before our country is just totally overwhelmed. Your victory will be our ultimate vindication. Your liberty will be our ultimate reward, and the unprecedented success of the United States of America will be my ultimate and absolute revenge. That's what I want. Success will be our revenge. I love those young people over there. But have you seen, the closer we get to this magnificent liberation of our country, the more desperate the Biden regime's evil persecution against us has become. They become more and more violent. The Stalinists show trials being carried out at the Joe Biden orders set fire not only to our system of government, but to hundreds of years of Western legal tradition. You see what's happening. They've replaced law, precedent, and due process with a rabid mob of radical left Democrat partisans masquerading as judges and juries and prosecutors and executioners. That's what they are. I've gone through trials. The level of hatred from these judges, there's no way you get fair trials. The level of hatred from prosecutors, when they know you've done nothing wrong, it's sick. These are sick people. The only crime I've ever committed is defending America and those who want to destroy it. I will fight those who want to destroy it. And they're very angry at me because I won an election that wasn't supposed to happen, and they were caught off guard. And they said, we'll never let that happen again. And in 2020, they cheated like dogs, and we all know it. We all know it. For that and that alone, Biden and his deranged prosecutors, attorney generals, local district attorneys are trying to take away my liberty. They're trying to take it away. They're trying to steal my liberty. If there's any shred of justice left, they will fail and we will win. And so far, we're doing very nicely. Thank you. But I would rather lose my freedom than surrender to this group of thugs and tyrants, and fascists, scoundrels, and rogues. The more the corrupt establishment tries to stop us, the more you know the day is near at hand when we will break free from their grip. We're going to break free very soon. We're going to break free from their grip very soon. You heard the J6 hostages, didn't you? You heard that. And I will tell you, there's never been in the history of our country a group of people treated the way they've been treated. There's never been anything like it. Carpenters, mechanics, lawyers, firemen, policemen, military people. They went to protest a rigged election, and they've been sentenced to years in prison. When they burn down Portland and they take over a vast section of Seattle and they burn down Minneapolis, and I had to watch television as a CNN reporter is standing saying, this is a peaceful protest. I'd like to say, this is a peaceful protest. And the whole damn city behind him is burning to the ground. Did you remember that? As far as the eye could see, Minneapolis burning to the ground. This is a peaceful protest. And then he got hit on the knee and he went down. It was crazy. No, it's crazy what's going on. And I tell you what, if I didn't bring in the National Guard, because the governor didn't want to do it, they'd never want to do it. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, I wish I didn't wait 6 days, but if I didn't bring in the National Guard, you wouldn't even have a city there. You wouldn't even have, that city was going down. They'll only motivate us more to make America great again. We have to make America great again. That's our mission. People say, what is your mission, sir? I remember when Ted Kennedy, he was actually a friend of mine, slightly different viewpoint on life, but he was a friend. But they asked him a question. It took him down. What plans do you have for America? Why are you running? And somehow, that's a much harder question than you think because, you're answering all the little details. Then they ask, what are your plans for America? It took him down, actually took him down. I just say, my plans are very simple. Make America great again. That's all I say. Make America great again. Very simple. Thank you, Gordon. The first and most urgent action when we win will be the sealing of the border, stopping the invasion, drill, baby, drill, send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home. We'll do all of those things, and we're going to have to do them fast because no country can sustain what's happening in our country. You look at New York, where I originally came from. I love New York, and you take a look at what's happening. Hundreds of thousands of people, they've taken over the streets, Madison Avenue. They've taken over Queens. They've taken over Brooklyn and the Bronx. They've taken over the whole city. The little leaguers can't play anymore because people are there that can't play. But it took longer than I thought, but I predicted this. It's called the migrant crime, and it's far more deadly than anybody thought. They will actually have fistfights with police in the middle of the street. You saw that the other day, where they attacked police. Even our bad criminals, they never had fistfights with a cop. You know, they do things and they talk and they shout. But these guys are actually, and you know the interesting thing? In their country, if they ever did that, they'd be dead within seconds. They'd be dead. I know where they come from. I know the people that run those countries. I know the presidents and the dictators. I know every one of them. Some are dictators, some are prime ministers. But they're tough guys. They're tough guys. And those thugs that gave the middle finger to our police and then started fighting them and actually threw two of them down and started beating the hell out of them, although they fought back bravely, the two. But these are tough people, and they know that in their country they'd be dead within minutes. They would be dead as a doornail within minutes. And so they came over here. So it took a long time, but now it's talking. Now you're seeing it. It's migrant crime. It's a new category of crime. And I wanted to call it Biden migrant crime, but it's too long. So we just call it migrant crime. We have a new category, migrant crime, and it's going to be more severe than violent crime and crime as we knew it, because we have millions and millions of people, and they came from prisons and jails. They came from mental institutions and insane asylums. No, they're not the same thing. An insane asylum is a mental institution on steroids, okay? It's Silence of the Lambs, okay? You know that. Hannibal Lecter. They're all being deposited into our country, and then you have terrorists, and then you have drugs, and then you have human traffickers, and they're coming over at levels never seen before. We've never seen anything like this. 3 years ago, we had the safest and most secure border in U.S. history. We ended catch and release, except when it was catch and release in Mexico. We had catch and release in our country. We built 571 miles of border wall, far more than I said I was going to build, and I couldn't get the damn thing through Paul Ryan. He stopped at Paul Ryan, a super rhino. He's a super rhino. I couldn't get it through Paul Ryan. Mitch McConnell. They said, sir, if you wait till next year. I said, you sure? They said, don't forget I had never done this stuff before. You know, I'm the president, and these guys are bullshitting me. They said, sir, if you would just sign this budget and wait, next year we'll put it, and then next year came. I said, where's my wall? They said, sir, we're not going to be able to get it. You know, in the meantime, they give trillions of dollars to the Democrats for the Green New scam. So what I did is I approved the military, and I took it out of the military. That's how I built it. I built the wall through the military. And the military, by the way, the Army Corps of Engineers did a great job. But I built it through 571 miles and 200 miles ready to go. It was laying there ready to be installed. It would have been 3 weeks. The entire thing would have been double what I promised. And then we had the rigged election, and they said, we don't want to build the wall. We don't want to build it. And I said, you know, they really do want open walls. I figured it was maybe just talk. I said, they really want an open border. Nobody could understand it. They really want an open border. And that's when it began. And that's when our country had really, because we can look, we can drill, we have more energy, we have more liquid gold than any other country. We can drill, we can do all of these things. But we have a problem because we have, by the time this guy, trying to be nice, but I don't have to be nice anymore because He indicted me. But I'm trying to be nice anyway. But by the time this guy gets out of office, we'll have 18 million people, in my opinion, in our country that shouldn't be here. And they do come from prisons and mental institutions, and they are terrorists. And we're going to be paying a price, and it'll be the largest deportation in the history of our country. And we have no choice. And it's not a nice thing to say, and I hate to say it. And those clowns in the media will say, oh, he's so mean. He said, no, they're killing our people. They're killing our country. They're killing our people. We have no choice. You know, when I went to Mexico, I said, Mr. President, you're going to have to give us 28,000 soldiers because the caravans, that was another name I came up with. I come up with good names. Longtime politicians come to see me, sir, could you give a name to my opponent? I said, how long are you a politician? 28 years, sir. You can't come up with your own names, but I do. Caravan. But I went to the president of Mexico. I said, they're coming through your country, and thousands of people in these caravans. They have one coming up now, supposedly 25,000 people. They're going to walk right into our country. We have no idea who the hell they are. But it started with Honduras. It started with El Salvador. They just started, but now we're equal opportunity. We have every country. We have countries that, honestly, nobody has ever heard of. We have languages coming into our country. We don't have one instructor in our entire nation that can speak that language. These are languages. It's the craziest thing. They have languages that nobody in this country has ever heard of. It's a very horrible thing. I said to the president of Mexico, you're going to have to give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. No, Donald, I will not do that. I will not do that. I cannot do that. And I said, no, you will. You will, I promise. Are you going to do it? No, I will not do it. I said, listen, you and I friends, I really like him a lot. So I said, let's not you and I. Just give me a negotiator because I don't want to do this with you. And he said, I will do that. And he sent me this very handsome guy, so handsome, so beautifully dressed. In fact, I asked him for the name of his tailor. Then when I found out how much he paid for the suit, I said, forget it, keep it. But he was a handsome devil. And I said, listen, you're going to have to do a few things. You're going to have to give me 28,000 soldiers. You know, Tom Homan was up before. He's fantastic. And he does go around saying, I love this guy. He says, Trump was the greatest president in history, and on the border, there has never been in his lifetime any president that was even close. And he's right about that. He's right. I mean, we know the results. But Brandon Judd, you have unbelievable people. All they had to do is leave it alone. But I said, you have to give us 28,000 soldiers. No. Then the new guy comes in, the representative says, yes, sir, what can I do? Now, I asked Tom Homan, Brandon Judd, and a person from the State Department, a wonderful woman. She's been there for over 20 years. She's covered Mexico for over 20 years. She knew it, and she was competent. She was good. She wasn't a good negotiator. And I said, what would you like? Give me I want a top 10 list. Well, sir, we'd like to remain in Mexico, but we've been trying to get that for years. You won't be able to get that, and you won't be able to get a catch and release in Mexico. You know, we have catch and release, and we catch a criminal and we release him in our country. I said, no, catch and release is fine in Mexico. Title 42, that's with the sick people and with the children. You've got to get the children back to their parents. All of these things, they gave me a list. But they thought they were wasting time. It was a list of 10 things, tough things. Just ask Tijuana if they were tough. Tijuana became one of the largest cities in the world all of a sudden. They said, what the hell is going on? So this guy comes in, and I say, look, number one, I want 28,000 soldiers free of charge. And he goes, oh, we're not going to do that. We're not doing it. He thought I was crazy, by the way. I said, oh, no, you're going to do it, 100%. No, we're not going to do it. I said, you're going to do it. I guarantee you, you're going to do it. He goes, no way. I said, way. And he said, we will not do that, sir. We will not do that. I said, here's what else you're going to do. Remain in Mexico. Nobody comes into our country until they're checked at the border. You're going to do remain in Mexico. You're going to do catch and release into Mexico, not into our country. You're going to do all sorts of things. You know, we had a lot of medical problems. People were coming in deathly sick with a disease, highly contagious disease. I said, I don't want people catching these diseases that we never even heard about. They have diseases nobody's ever even heard about. I'm sorry. I feel badly for the people, but we don't want to have this contagion in our country. I'm sorry. And we did that. So we had a list of these 10 things, one tougher than the next. And he said, we're not even going to think about this. And the person from the State Department, this really good woman, but she said, sir, you're just going to be wasting your time. And I said, all right. I said, I'll make you a little bet. I'll bet you I get all 10 within minutes. And she thought I was crazy, too. So after he said, no way, I said, way. And then I said, here is what's going to happen. If you don't approve this and if you don't give us those soldiers, and their soldiers are not politically correct. You know, our soldiers, if you say, excuse me, madam, you're not supposed to be entering our country. Ma'am, please don't enter our country. Then they get indicted because they talk to her too rough, you know. We have the greatest soldiers in the world, but they're not allowed to do their job. I proved that with ISIS. Our soldiers knocked the hell out of ISIS once I took over and took it away from our fake television generals. We have great generals, but not the ones like Milley and these guys on television. They're fake. I had generals that were really tough. I had generals that I had to hold back, okay? We have great military, and it's only woke at the top. I don't think it can ever be wokenized at the lower levels, because these are great people, tough people. I really don't believe they could do it. It was only at the top. And remember, when I let them go, 4 weeks. We were told 4 years, and it probably can't be done. I knocked it out in 4 weeks. Our military is great. I said to one of the generals, what's your name? Kane, sir. My name is Kane. He looked better than any movie actor you could get. My name is Kane, sir. I said, all right, Kane, what's your first name? They call me Raisin. I said, what? Raisin, sir. Your name is Raisin Kane? Yes, sir. I love you. You're the man I'm looking for. You're the man I'm looking for. And I said, why is ISIS so tough? He said, they're not tough, sir. They just don't let us do our job. I said, why not? He said, because, and this is after I flew to Iraq. You know, I flew to Iraq in a plane. Some of you know the story. It was all dark. After spending 20 years and $1 trillion, we can't turn the lights on in a plane. I sat with the pilots, the most handsome human beings I've ever seen. It's not my thing, but they're handsome. Not my thing. Not even a little bit, but they are handsome. Central casting. Better looking than Tom Cruise and taller. Okay, that's good. So, I'll deviate on the stories. Now, by the way, when I deviate, they'll say, oh, he went from... No. A really smart person can go through various stories, always come back and conclude everything. Okay. Don't worry, we'll get back to Mexico. But this is almost, right now this is more exciting. So the plane's off. I said, why are you doing that? Because, sir, we're flying over an area that's very dangerous, where we spent 20 years eradicating. And so I said, I want to go sit with the pilots, because I often do that. And I'm sitting with the pilots, and I get up there, I'm feeling my way up. And the plane was absolutely dark, no lights on the outside, no lights on the inside. It was a little spooky. We're up there 40,000 feet getting ready to start going down, and they're telling us we can't have any lights, no lights in your cabin, sir. And then they pull down the shades anyway. So I'm sort of feeling my way. I get up there, and I see this captain with the crew cut, the whole deal he's got. Yes, sir, it's an honor to be with you, sir. And I said, Captain, I don't see any lights. You know, we're getting close. Is there a problem out there, Captain? No, sir, we'll be landing in less than 30 minutes, sir. I say, all right, and I'm sitting in a seat that's right in the back between these two handsome human beings. And, you know, they always give the best pilots, the Air Force One and Marine One, the helicopters you have, which is good. One thing you know, you got great pilots. These are the best. And so he said, no problem, sir. We'll be landing in a little while. And then 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes. I haven't seen one light. There's nothing. It's like, and I'm getting a little nervous. You know, do you ever see? I'm trying to act cool as a cucumber. And it's, if you know anything about planes, you have the I call it the computer voice. It's the most beautiful voice. If I had that voice, I would have been president 20 years earlier. But the most beautiful voice, so professional. 1,000. That means you're 1,000 feet over the ground. Now, I haven't seen a light. I haven't seen anything. It's just dead. There's not anything. That means we're like really low. We have this massive plane. We're just right off the ground. Then it goes 900, 800, 700, 600. Now, we're 600 feet off the ground. We're flying in. The plane is dark with the exception of a tiny little light that they've got on their dashboard underneath everything and totally concealed. There's not a light anywhere. I've never seen anything. It was like dark. 500. I say to the captain, are we okay, Captain? Everything fine? Yes, sir. No problem. We'll be on the ground in just a few minutes, sir. I say, what ground? So, 400, 300, 200. Captain, are we okay? Yes, sir. We'll be landing momentarily, sir. 100. Now, usually when you're in these planes, I do it a lot, you have lights bursting, big lights. You got a runway, it's lit up like a candle. There's not one light. There's not even a little, what they call a pigeon light. That's a tiny little light. 100. And I want to ask him again, but I want to show some bravery. Because I thought we were going down for the count. And then all of a sudden, and it's genius, there is no light. And then all of a sudden, 100, and then bing, bing, beautiful landing like nothing to it. Sir, it was an honor to be with you today, sir. Thank you, Captain. Does anybody have a towel? I'm saying, does anybody have a towel? I need a towel. So now I'm walking out and getting ready to go down and meet the generals in Iraq to find out why we're not defeating ISIS. And I see my staff, and I say, that was quite an experience I just had. Yes, sir, a great landing. And he said, yeah, well, it was and I said, let me ask you a question. Is the President of the United States allowed to give himself the Congressional Medal of Honor for bravery? Because I did a very brave thing. I was so brave. Am I allowed to do it? And they said, sir, it would not be a good thing to do. Now, here's the problem with that story. The fake news media will lead tomorrow. Donald Trump wanted to give himself the Congressional Medal of Honor. It's true. It's true. When I imitate Biden, who can't find the stairs ever. You know, you have so many stairs in it. You got one there, you got ramps, you got everything. Here, you only have 2 or 3 stairs. Sometimes you have 6, 7 stairs. The craziest thing, what a waste of money. My father would say, what the hell are they doing? All you need is 1 stair. But for Biden, you need many. But when I imitate him with the stairs, because he never can find his way. If you ever see Secret Service runs up and grabs him and, helps him off the stage. This is what we have negotiating nuclear weapons. So he finishes his speech, and do you ever notice? He finishes it. The speeches last about, would you say, average 2-3 minutes, right? Very quick. They're very quick and not good. Not good. But the press gives him good marks. I remember when he made such a bad State of the Union speech. Everything was stumbling, mumbling. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. And I said, I'm going to watch CNN, MSDNC to find out what they say, because that was one of the worst speeches. They said, not since FDR has there been a speech so magnificently delivered. I'm telling you, I've never, ever forgotten it. Not since FDR. I said, it's impossible. They're fake. They're terrible. But you know what? When he goes, and he always points, he goes like this. Thank you. Where am I? Thank you. And then he goes. And he points. You ever notice? And it's always he ends up going in the opposite direction ultimately. But he goes. And then. Sometimes he trips over the machine. But if there's a wall behind him, he ends up walking into the wall. And then one of these incredible guys from Secret Service, all these beautiful guys, they run up stage. Look at these guys, like central casting, right? They'll run up stage, they'll grab him, and they're not meant to smile. You know, they're very hard line. When I tell stories, they're like this. I guess they're trained that way. They never smile. You say, good morning. Well, sure. They actually turn away. It's good. This way you don't have to say good morning all the time, okay? No, they train them this way. But so one of these guys will run up and grab him and take him off the stage. This is what we have as our president. But the worst thing is when I do that, the fake news. I call up my wife, our great first lady. She was a great first. People love her. Yeah, people love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good. Yeah, she's good. And she loves our country and she loves the people. It's true. When I give these big rallies, we give rallies, they say, we love our First Lady. They have signs, we love her. They always show a high heel, you know. But we love our First Lady. But I call up our First Lady, I say, so baby, how good was that? She goes, you were okay. She's a very tough critic. I'll go into a group, I'll speak in front of 55, 56, 68,000 people sometimes. I'll call her up, I'll say, how good was I tonight? Was that unbelievable? She goes, well, your hair didn't look good. Oh, that's not good. But it's very hard to get like, you know, once in a while she goes, you were really good tonight, but that's like a major. But I said, in this case, I said, how good was that tonight? She said, you were really good tonight, but what happened? You couldn't find your way off the stage. Because the fake news said Donald Trump couldn't find his way off the stage. I said, wow. Or when I interject a name, like I go, our president, Barack Hussein Obama. Rush Limbaugh, remember? He would always, right, Seb? Rush would go, Barack Hussein. You couldn't hear Barack or Obama, but the name Hussein, he'd be screaming. I don't know exactly what he meant by that. I think I do. But he'd go, Barack Hussein. So I'd go, Barack Hussein Obama, our president, has done this. Now, I meant that because there are those people that say he's running our country, because Joe is not strong on aptitude. So there are those. We don't know that that's true. But they go out and they say, Donald Trump, headline. Donald Trump doesn't know who the president of our country. He thinks Obama's the president, Lou. Look at the great Lou Dobbs. He thinks Obama is the president. So when I'm sarcastic, because I'm sort of a sarcastic guy, I find humor in sarcasm, but it's very dangerous to do because they take it very seriously. But it's a very serious subject because of what happened. To finish the first story, what happened? Hey, by the way, isn't this better than reading off a frickin' teleprompter? Right? Right? Anybody can do that except for Biden. Anybody can read off a teleprompter except for Biden. He can't do that either. He can't do that either. He asks questions. News conference. Hey, when I'm in a news conference, people with these maniacs, these lunatics are screaming at me. They're just screaming like crazy. And, you know, you take them, and I love it. You know, it's like a mental challenge. It's horrible people. But they're screaming, and you're answering, and you're getting them. And then sometimes they get in trouble because they say, you were too tough, or you were too nasty, too this. The people don't like that. I understand that, too. But he asks, like, a question, and it's, Bob from NBC. Okay. Mr. President, sir, we just wanted to know, are you feeling well, and was everything good? And did you have ice cream today? Then he picks up the paper and he reads the answer. Yes, it was vanilla. No, but think, they ask him questions and they give him an answer. That never happened to me, right? I walk out there and it's like a free-for-all. But it's a sad thing. Okay. So now I go off and watch. You know this is all genius, okay? You do know. I hope you know that. I always say my uncle was the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT, Dr. John Trump. We have a lot of great aptitude. They'll say, "You rambled." Nobody can ramble like this. Nobody. If they did, they wouldn't even try. You know what? They go step by step, and they would never get off that sucker. They go step by step. But what happens, and it's very interesting, we get on the plane, we get off now where I've just learned that I should not give myself the Congressional Medal of Honor. My people are saying, can you believe he asked that question? But we get off the plane, and I'm walking down. I'm going down this big ramp. I took the high stair, you know. I don't like the children. We call it the Children's. I never had a problem with it, but I'm walking down, and I'm looking down, and I see these central casting people. A general, another general, a colonel, a staff sergeant, could be in any movie. These guys, it's like perfect. They're like perfect individuals. If I were casting a movie on the military, I would pick these guys. There's nobody you could hire in Hollywood that looks like this. So I walked down, and this is where I met General Raisin Kane. And what's your name? General, what's your name? And he gave me his name. What's your name, Sergeant? Yes, sir, and I love you, sir. I think you're great, sir. I'll kill for you, sir. Then he puts on a Make America Great Again hat. You're not allowed to do that, but they did it. I remember I went into the hangar, and there were hundreds of troops. And they're not supposed to do this, but they all put on the Make America Great Again hat. Right? Not supposed to do it. I said, you're not supposed to do that. You know that. They said, it's okay, sir. We don't care. We don't care. And I met these people, and I said, so what do you think, General, sir? Would you like to rest up? See, this is before Biden. See, if I had Biden, I'd say, I'm not Biden. But we didn't know how bad he would be because we hadn't been tested yet. Sir, I said, he said, would you like to rest up for a little while? Then we'll have a meeting. We're all set. And this place is like all bunkers. There's no windows, no nothing. It's all bunkers, real stark, but beautiful in a certain way. Billions and billions of dollars that cost many years ago. And I said, no, I'm okay, General. Let's get the business. He was probably surprised. So we started. I say, so General Mattis and all these guys that tell me back in Washington that it'll take 4 or 5 years to defeat ISIS. Why? Sir, it's not true, sir. It's not true. I said, what's not true? We can do it very quickly. How quickly? 4 weeks, sir. Wait a minute. I was told 4 years, and you might not be able to. Sir, we can have it done in 4 weeks. Why? How? What were they doing? Sir, it's our job as a soldier. When they come in from Washington, they're a higher rank. We respect them. We have to respect them. That's our job. I understood exactly what he was saying. He said, sir, when they come in, they tell us what to do, and we do it. I say, don't you question what this? No, sir, we don't question. They came in, they had a plan, and we said we'd do that plan. What was wrong with the plan? We attacked from way far away, sir, and only one place. It happened to be here. We're hundreds of miles away. By the time the planes got there, they practically had to go back and refuel. I said, what would you do, General? You don't mind if I tell you, sir, do you? He said, I don't mind. I'm waiting to hear. He said, sir, we have auxiliary ports, and we have runways all over the place. They're portables. We call them portables. We put them up faster. We take them down even faster. And they're damn good, sir. What I'd do is I'd hit him from 9 different locations. I'd hit him from the left. Now he's getting excited. I'd hit him from the right. I'd hit him from up top. I'd go right the hell under the damn ground. I almost used the bad word. I would have been in trouble. I would have been in trouble with the religious right, but they love me, so I don't care. I would have been a bit. Please don't do that, sir. I would have been in by just so proud of myself I was able to stop. But I'd hit him from the left, I'd hit him from the right, I'd hit him from east and west and north and south, sir. They would be over very quickly. I said, well, why didn't they do it before? Because, sir, some of the ports And some of these runways are located in countries where they didn't want to be politically incorrect and use a runway and attack the enemy. And their savages, sir, attack them from certain points. I said, so you'd attack them and you'd hit them hard, right? Yes, sir, I'd hit them so hard. And I said, and it would take you 4 weeks, maybe more, maybe less, sir. So I said, you gotta be kidding. I said, I'm going to go back to Washington and I'm going to think about this because nobody ever told me about this. He says, sir, we'll have time left over. So I go back to Washington and I call and just spoke once more. Are you sure you can do this, sir? We can do it, sir. I'm telling you this, sir, because we have the greatest military in the world. You know, you see these clowns, these stupid people with Afghanistan. You see these stupid people, Matt, from Afghanistan, the withdrawal, the worst, most embarrassing moment in our lives. They take the military out first. I knew Abdul. I said, Abdul, you'll get hit so hard. 18 months, we didn't have one soldier killed in Afghanistan. I was the one that had it ready. It was enough. 21 years, that was enough. It was ridiculous, but I would have never let Bagram go because Bagram is 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons, and they let it go. They left at the dark of night. They left the dogs behind, and they left the lights on. And you know who occupies it now? China. So I said, so Raisin, how's it going? I said, sir, just about over, sir. We're going to save a little time, sir. I said, all right, good, call me. So he does his thing. I get a call that ISIS is on the run. The next day I get a call that ISIS is really in bad shape. Next day I get a call that they're surrounded. Next day I speak to somebody and I say, is it really going that well? Sir, it's a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's our military. It's our great military with people that know what the hell they're doing. And they say, sir, we have them now totally surrounded. Most of them are gone, but there's a large group. Just give us the word. Give us the word for what? Don't forget, I had never done this stuff before, you know. I grew up in New York doing real estate deals, really good ones, as you found out. You know, you find out. Even though they want to take as much money as they can away from me. I think we're going to fine him $450 million. Let's give him a fine. You know, you usually get a $500 fine. I get a $500 million fine. These people are sick. It's all part of weaponization, and it can't be allowed to happen. But I said, what are you talking about? We have, sir, a large group, and we're ready to extinguish them. We're ready to send them to hell. I said, we're talking about human beings, General. You know, naively. He's laughing. We're talking about human beings. No, they're not human. Sir, these are animals. These aren't human beings. These are animals. I said, well, maybe if you fly over them with those incredible thunderous planes, the greatest planes in the world, maybe you'll shake them up a little bit and they'll surrender, sir. They don't know what a white flag is. I remember that statement. They don't know about surrendering, sir. They're horrible, horrible people, but they are brave. They're not going to be surrendering. Well, let's try it. 2 days. Fly over them back and forth, low as hell. Well, we got a couple of bullet holes in our planes, but we'll do it if you want. Just give it a shot. Get a call back 2 days later. Sir, they're not going to surrender. We've been doing it now for 2 days, back and forth, back and forth. Just give me the order, sir. I said, you got the order. Thank you, sir. A day later, I get a call. We have defeated 100% of ISIS. Isn't that a great story? Isn't that a great story? Right, Mike? 100% of ISIS. "100% of ISIS is gone." So, you know, doing stories like that, probably, Matt, I won't get the best speaker this year because I went off this stupid teleprompter, but maybe we will. So it was an amazing thing, and I learned so much. I tell that story sometimes rarely because it's, you know, it's a rough story. But I tell it because you have to know what a great military we have if you let them do their jobs. And I equate it with our police and law enforcement people. We have the greatest law enforcement people in the world, but they're not allowed to do their job. It's the same exact thing. Chicago could be solved in one day. New York could be solved in a half a day. The New York police, I grew up with them. They're the greatest people. Now, a lot of them have left, and they've gone down to other states, and they've retired. But you have great people. And they can do their job if they're allowed to do their job. But they don't want to lose their pension. They don't want to lose everything. When you see these department stores where 300, 400, usually kids walk in there with the masks on and rob the store, destroy the store, millions of dollars, then the store closes, the whole thing starts to collapse, the city. I could solve that problem in one day, in 1 hour, in 1 minute. When the word got out that we took a very tough action, when kids walk out with television sets, like brand new, beautiful $2,000 television sets, and they're walking out, and the police are told, stand down, don't do anything. If the police would be allowed to do their job, and they would do it really strongly, it would end. That whole phenomena would end immediately. It would never happen again. You don't even have to do it in every city. All you have to do is do it in one. That's why I'm giving immunity to police, so that they stop crime, because they don't want to get sued. They don't want to lose their wife, their family, their pension, their house. It would stop immediately. So when I equate the military story and I talk about what they did and how we defeated ISIS, it's the same exact thing for the police. We have the greatest police. They could stop it in Los Angeles. They could stop it in New York. They could stop it in Chicago. They could stop it everywhere. But they're not allowed to do their job. And if they do their job, they lose everything. They lose their pensions, their house. They lose their family. And we're not going to let that happen anymore, because our city's all run by Democrats, radical left Democrats for the most part, but Democrats. It's a cesspool. It's a cesspool. Okay, now we go back to one little final story that I have to finish. So as you remember, the president of Mexico sent a representative. Lou. See, they'll say he rambled. He's cognitively impaired. No, it's really the opposite. It's total genius. You know that. It is. It's total genius. These fakers up there, he rambled on endlessly, telling these horrible and very boring stories. No, they're very informative stories. They're very important stories, actually. But no, there's no cognitive problem. If there was, I'd know about it. In fact, if there was, you'll be the first to know, because I will tell you. I will tell you. But so what happens is I'm talking to the gentleman, and he's very confident. And I said, no, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And he thought this was a weird conversation, because he kept saying no. I said, no, you're going to do it. 100%. Don't even think about it. No, I said no. But, sir, I said no. How many times do I have to say no? I said, say yes. And he said, I can't do that. I said, here's what I'm doing. It's Friday evening. Starting Monday morning at 7 o'clock, Mexico is going to pay a tariff of 25% on all of the cars that you stole from our country, by the way. You know, they stole 32% of our manufacturing cars. The United Auto Workers are going to vote for me, all those people, because that deal they made with China. All-electric cars. The all-electric mandate. Everybody has to have an electric car, which doesn't go far. Got a couple of problems. Doesn't go far. Doesn't work in cold weather. Remember, 4 weeks ago, I won in the largest margin ×2 history in Iowa. And it was 40 degrees below zero on election night. 40 degrees. This was serious cold. If I walked from here to here, let's say that's 5 yards, I was freezing my ass off by the time I got there. This was so cold. You never saw so many electric cars pulled over to the side of the road. You could have had any one of them. I don't know what the hell the people did. I guess they saved them in some way. But no, they don't go far. And these are the people we have making decisions. No, we want to have everything. We want to have choice. Like in school, we want to have choice. And with cars, we want to have choice, right? You know? We want hybrid. So I said, I'm going to sign this document, and at 7 o'clock on Monday morning, Everything, including cars. And by the way, Mexico is our #1 trading partner. Who the hell knew that? Can you imagine? Mexico is our biggest trading partner. And you know why? Because I put so many tariffs on China that they really had to pull back. And we saved a lot of businesses. We saved the steel industry because of it. But Mexico is our biggest trading partner. I said, you're going to pay 25% tax or tariff, call it whatever you want. It's similar, but not actually. And you're going to pay it on every single thing that comes in from Mexico into the United States. And like every other country, they rip us off big, big. We don't have any good deals. I changed the South Korea deal. I changed the Japan deal. I could sit down and do nothing but change deals. I said, who the hell negotiated for the United States? And then you wonder why we have a $2 trillion deficit. Now, if you look at it now, it's gotten to a level that nobody can even believe. It's so bad under Biden. But I said, that's what's going to happen. And that's going to be a hell of a lot more than 28,000 soldiers. And I'm okay with it. But I'm ready to sign it. You just tell me when to sign it. Sir, may I... Now he's doing this. He was a very confident man just moments before. Now he's grabbing his collar, he's pulling, he can't breathe. Sir, may I call our president, please? Absolutely. Please give him my warmest regards. And I said, will you make it quick? I'm late. I got the Russia hoax to take care of. I got to take care of that hoax, Mike. So make it quick. I don't have much time. Think of what I could have done if I didn't have to go through all that bullshit, right? Think of how good I would have been. So he comes back in 5 minutes and he said, sir, I'm pleased to tell you that it would be our great honor to supply you with 28,000 soldiers free of charge. It would be our great honor to adhere to your request for remain in Mexico. Millions of people can stay in our country. Here's a guy. You ever see what happened to Tijuana? It was like people. They had no earth left. It was, you looked at it, as became, I think it was the fastest growing city in history. Tijuana, nice place. But we have, I said, what about catch and release in Mexico? Yes, sir, we'd love to have you release people that you catch, prisoners and murderers. We think it would be a wonderful thing for our country, sir. We would love it. Sir, you can do whatever the hell you want. And we got everything. And then this fool, this stupid fool, released Mexico of all of these obligations. And then last week, for the first time, I can't even believe it, I heard Mexico saying, we're not going to negotiate with the United States unless they give us $10 billion. These are stupid people. How about the hostages? The hostages with Iran, Iraq, but the hostages, we gave Iran $6 billion for 5 people. $6 billion. $6 billion for 5 people. A hiker. You know, a hiker goes over and says, oh, look, there's Iran. Let's go hiking. We give them $1 billion to get the hiker out. We gave them $6 billion, and then we gave $10 billion because they supplied some electricity to Iraq. What the hell do we care if they supply it to Iraq? Iraq. Should have never. Remember, I used to say a long time ago, don't go into Iraq. Don't do it. But I was only a civilian, so I didn't get that much press. I said, don't go into Iraq, but if you're going to do it, keep the oil. Do you remember I used to say that all the time? Keep the oil, but don't do it, but keep the oil. Iraq now has $300 billion. Iran has $224 billion. And Iran controls 100% Iraq. So for years, they'd fight each other, and they were the same. For years and years, under different names. But religious thing. But they would fight each other for years, and they were the two powers. And they were checkmating each other. So they'd fight and fight and fight 4 or 5 years. They'd throw a little gas. They'd throw another one, and then all of a sudden they'd say, and they'd go back, and the border basically remained unchanged. This has been going on for centuries. And then we come along and we blow up one of the sides. We blow up Iraq. And now Iran is taking over Iraq. So Iran, they might as well change the name. So Iran has their $200 and some odd billion that they all made in 2.5 years. 2.5 years. I told China, and I told all of the countries, France, everybody. I said, listen, if you buy 1 barrel of oil from Iran, we're not going to do any business. We're going cold turkey, which wouldn't have been a bad thing anyway. We're going cold turkey. You're not going to do it. And we're going to put a 100% tariff on anything that gets through. And President Xi, I told him this. He said, all right, well, we won't do it. We won't do it. They didn't buy. By the way, they're buying billions and billions of dollars worth of oil right now. But China didn't buy. Nobody bought. Iran was broke. And they had no money for Hamas. And they had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anything. They were down to almost nothing. And there were a lot of stories that Iran was unable, and all these terror groups were angry at Iran because they weren't paying them. And the terror groups were all breaking up. If I were president, Israel would have never been attacked. Would have never been attacked. As soon as I was forced out with a rigged election, and we can never let that happen again. Don't let it happen again. Don't let it happen again. As soon as I was forced out with this rigged election, Biden took the sanctions off. Iran went back to levels that they've never seen before, more than they've ever done. And now they're rich as hell. They're selling oil to everybody. They're making so much money they don't know what to do. They're a very rich nation. With me, they were broke. They were broke. I remember a Democrat congressman on Deface the Nation a couple of weeks. I think it was Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. It is Deface the Nation because their news is so fake. But he was saying that, well, whether you like Trump or not, he did break Iran. They were broke. They had no money. I said, that's nice of him. He probably, lost his chairmanship or whatever he was. But we did a great job. We did a great job. So what happened is Mexico agreed to all of these things. We took the money out of the military. We built the wall. We had the safest border in the history of our country. The history of our country. And it was very interesting because we built the wall, but a lot of people were coming up at the beginning. Once they saw that I meant business, once they heard some of these stories that I'm telling you right now, they didn't come. They weren't coming. The caravans were much smaller. The people trying to get in was a much easier situation to handle. When you have an idiot like Gavin Newsom saying, if you come up, we're going to give you pension funds, you're going to have pensions, we'll give you a mansion. Do you ever see the things that he's promising? Free health care, free education. Who the hell wouldn't? I may move there myself, actually. No, but people all over the world are hearing this, that California, look, a lot of people think Gavin Newsom is going to run. In a certain way, I hope so. I hope so. Because he's destroyed California. He's destroyed it. But he's got a hell of a line of crap. I watched him on Sean Hannity, who's a good man, Sean. Sean, we love you very much, Sean, if you happen to be watching, which you will. But he was on Sean Hannity, and he was saying, no, California's never done better, we got to do this, we're doing that. I'm saying, wait a minute, the place is failing. They don't have water. They're notifying people in Beverly Hills you can only use 40 gallons of water. They don't have water. By the way, they could have so much water. I had it all set. All of the federal government approvals were done. All he had to do is sign a little piece of paper. And I won't let him get away with that again because he had to sign one piece of paper and water would be pouring down from up north, pouring down from Canada. And it comes down the artificial veins and the natural veins where the water poured down. They take this water and they send it out to the Pacific, way above California. They send the water out to the Pacific to protect a little tiny fish that's not doing too well anyway. And people don't have water, and the farmland is barren. You go down, it's best land there is in the whole country. They can't farm it because they have no water. And it's true. In Beverly Hills, you pay a fortune in taxes. They say you can only brush your teeth once a day. Who the hell wants to mean you can't use too much water on your hair? That would put me out. I would not want to be. They put restrictors on showers. They put restrictors on faucets. You buy brand new faucets. Aren't they beautiful, darling? Oh, yes, look at them beautiful brass faucets. They're so beautiful. Let's try them. Oh, shit, no water's coming out. Drop. It drops out. You turn on the shower. I'm going to take a shower tonight. My hair's going to look better than it ever looked. I get that whole deal ready. I'm all set to go. Turn on the shower. Ding. Ding. No. And they have so much water. I said to some of our great congressmen that asked me to help them with a problem up in that area, up north in California, I said, I see you have a drought. They said, no, we don't have a drought. We have so much water, you don't know what to do. But they send it out to the Pacific. We're not going to let them get away with that any longer. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And frankly, I believe, I gave a speech up there. We had like 100,000 people show up. I said, what the hell is going on over here? I always hear Republicans can't win. California, you can't win. I will tell you, if God came down and God was the vote checker, I believe we would win California. I think it's so crazy. They send out 36 million ballots, get sent out to people unknown. They're sent out all over the place. How many people from California know people that got 6, 7, 8 ballots, okay? Our elections are so corrupt. I think we'd do very well. I think I would do very well in California, actually. And I think I would do well in a lot of places because it's common sense. Remember, not conservative. It's common sense. I'm conservative. But the words are common sense. Our country is run by people that are destroying it. We're not going to let it happen again. We're going to have a great military. We're going to have a great... Everything in our country is going to function properly again. It's going to function well. We're going to be respected all over the world. We're going to be respected like we've never been respected before. And it won't take long. It's like Orban said from Hungary, put Trump back in and the whole world is going to be fixed. He said that very strongly, put Trump back in. What do you do? They said, what do you do, sir? What do you do? The world is blowing up. He said, it's a very simple solution. Put President Trump back in office. It will all be healed very, very quickly. So I want to apologize for literally not repeating this beautiful speech. But I thought some of these stories are instructive because they tell you our military is great. They tell you our law enforcement is great. They tell you our president is incompetent. They tell you a lot of things, some of which you knew and some of which you didn't know. So now I'm going to the place I'm supposed to be. I'm going to South Carolina. I'm supposed to be there. And if I do poorly, I'm going to blame Mercedes. Forget about that. I'm going to blame Mercedes. Because I am supposed to be there and I'm not there. And if I do poorly, I'm blaming everybody in this audience. But I think we're going to do okay. And I just want to thank everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you from a beautiful place called South Carolina, go out and vote right now, please. Get in those cars and drive fast. I'm going to leave you with this one final message. We're going to win the election. We're going to win it big. We're going to win it bigger than ever before. We're going to do things that nobody believed. It's going to be more important even than 2016. We are going to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
gratifying speech here at CPAC. The people are coming out of the room right now as the president exits the stage. He does that fancy dance that we all love. But before that, of course, offering a very important message to these conservatives about staying in the game and keeping the hope alive as we head into November.
Absolutely. He talked a lot about, revenge. And he says the ultimate and absolute revenge is success.
Right. Because a lot of people think that he's been targeted so much that people are coming after him on the left and the injustice that has attacked him, that he's going to come back after them when he gets in office. And, that's the common thought process. But he says, no, my revenge is success, meaning I'm going to make this country great again. That's my goal. That's what I'm after. That's what I want to do. So President Trump, I'm seeing a lot of people are coming out smiling, happy. They had a great hour and a half with the president and listening to him speak. That's why they're here today. But we're not done yet here at CPAC. We still have a wonderful lineup of speakers this afternoon, ending with Steve Bannon, crowd favorite. They love Steve Bannon. Anytime he's around or on air, they follow him.
Yes, they do. We also have the new president of Argentina, Javier Milei. I'm not sure how to say it, but he's very popular right now. He's been going viral for his anti-socialism speeches. So we'll have more live coverage of that coming right up.
All right, so let's just, keep talking to you about what's going on here because it's very busy. You could hear a pin drop when President Trump was speaking, like literally for an hour and a half. There was no one talking, no movement, very quiet, but now it's like a stomped on ant bed in here because the president just wrapped up and the people are walking around, mingling, smiling, having a good old time, and trying to maybe get some lunch or go to the restroom or whatever the case may be until the next speaker begins. Vanessa Broussard, Grace Saldana here with you from Right Side Broadcasting Network. Always a pleasure to have you join us for our coverage on the campaign trail. If you're just now joining us, we are going to have a fun night ahead, and we know it's going to be fun because we believe that President Trump's watch party in South Carolina tonight is going to be a winner, and he is up in the polls by 30 points in South Carolina, Nikki Haley's home state. So from here, he is behind the stage right now. He's taking off in Trump Force One, and he's heading to the great state of South Carolina, where our Brian Glenn is standing by, waiting for him on the ground there to do some interviews and also hear him. As those poll numbers come in, President Trump will be there at the watch party.
Gage estimated it takes about an hour and a half to fly from D.C. to South Carolina. So I'm not sure when President Trump will be in South Carolina exactly, but he'll be there very soon. Brian has also mentioned he has some important surrogates that he would like to interview during the coverage tonight, so don't miss that. We have some, I'm not going to name names yet, but I want you guys to see it live tonight when you tune in. And I think we're expecting to start that coverage around 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and we will recap CPAC and kick it off to South Carolina.
All right. We have so much to come, so much to tell you about, and so much to talk about. I mean, it's just a glow and an excitement in all these people's faces right now. I'm actually happy seeing them happy because they get to see President Trump. A lot of people here, it's their first time to see him, so they're excited, and we're happy for them. But we have so much more to talk about. Don't go anywhere here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're going to take a quick 60-second timeout, a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Parents and grandparents, the 2024 Kids Guide to President Trump is here, and it's free. As a bonus, your child gets a free issue of Everbright Kids Magazine and Activity Book, and a free video lesson. Order now at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I have a Christian show called Let It Be Heard, where we analyze culture and current events from a biblical perspective. I highly recommend you guys check us out. We now have episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And basically, what happens is we react to videos, we have talking points, we have on guests, and it's very exciting. Come check us out on Rumble on the RSBN channel. God bless you guys.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented my pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
Welcome to the Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're not like the other media outlets out there that cut and edit what other people say. In 2015, we were created by our founder, Joe Seals, to cover President Donald J. Trump's speeches and rallies, to which we continue to do to this day. We've also covered important conservative events like CPAC, TPUSA, March for Life, and many other important events and hearings around the country. We were made for people like you, everyday Americans who are tired of the mainstream media, who are tired of being lied to, manipulated, and fed an agenda. Our goal here at Right Side Broadcasting is to allow you to see the truth, giving our correspondents and commentators a wide latitude to speak their minds. You won't find anything like this in the mainstream media. Your support through your donations, locals, and supporting our advertisers allows us to continue to cover important events around the country each and every day. So, from us here at Right Side Broadcasting, thank you for supporting us and the right side of history.